This is hit music.
93.3 KKOB FM, Albuquerque.
A Cumulus station.
Coming up at 7 o'clock this morning, we are going to tell you the $100 song of the day. And the Dirty brought to you by IT, the ultimate Halloween party at the stage at the Star. Are we ready for the Biebs on the big screen? Find out.
From the furthest reaches around the world to points near and far across our great nation, we gather together as one at a magical place in the high mountain desert to inflate your imagination. The music you hear signals the opening event of the 46th edition of the greatest spectacle in all of lighter-than-air flight. Welcome one and all to the world's premier balloon event, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon. Hello and good morning, everyone. I'm your announcer, Art Lloyd Jr., and I'm honored to mark my 4th consecutive year lending my commentary to this world-class event. Let's begin this morning with the 21st anniversary edition of the Dawn Patrol Show, brought to you by Route 66 Casino Hotel and RV Park. It's called the Big One. The Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is, by far, the most highly recognized ballooning event in the world. It began 45 years ago to celebrate the 50th anniversary of radio station 770 KOB, now known as KKOB. That little gathering of 13 balloons has blossomed into what you'll be enjoying today. Soon we'll hear as each pilot reports in that they are cold-packed and ready. This means each aircraft is full of cold air, forced into the balloon by a gasoline-powered fan, and that the pilot is at his or her burner, ready to turn on the fire and hot inflate. Once upright, the balloons will perform something of a mini glow, lighting up their burners and giving you a great photo op. Soon they will begin to rise into the pre-dawn skies to show us the way and what direction the winds will take for our mass ascension. Stand by for the stand-up and launch of the Route 66 Casino Hotel and RV Park Dawn Patrol Show.
Well, someone's a little bit excited this morning. Ready. Cold pack, getting ready. Thank you, sir. On 3, cold pack, getting ready. Is there anyone that needs more time?
On 4 needs about a minute.
Needs overtime. Thank you. When cold packed and ready.
One, 2 needs another minute or 2.
Thank you, sir.
Come forward, cold packed and ready.
All patrol team, anyone need additional time?
Houston, Texas, Claire Wade Calican, flying. The passengers have loaded into the baskets. The pilots and crews have readied their aircraft for flight. It's almost time to send them off, but as we go, we need your help. The balloon crews will need to pack things up and give chase. We ask that if you please give them that space. If they ask for room to move their vehicles, please give them a path to do so. And one more time, ladies and gentlemen, and pilots, for an all burn and the start of our Dawn Patrol show launch. Help me count them down to an all burn in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all burn. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's watch and enjoy as the Dawn Patrol balloons leave the ground and take to the pre-dawn skies. On-patrol balloons continue to fly the box overhead. To enjoy the day, we want to give special thanks to the sponsor of our show, Route 66 Casino Hotel and RV Park. And we want to say thank you for being here early, for watching us on Balloon Fiesta TV Live, and for being part of our show this morning. For now, this is your commentator, Art Lloyd Jr. We'll visit again with you soon as we get ready for another spectacular mass ascension here at the 46th edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, the world's premier balloon event presented by Canon. See you about 6:45.
them now.
Josephus down to V2. Whatever his name, the bartender.
Oh.
Rocha Septipane.
Mic check, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2.
From the hot air balloon capital of the world, this is the 46th edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon. The world's premier ballooning event is happening now in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is Balloon Fiesta Live, online and on the air. And now, here is Glenn Moyer and Art Lloyd Jr.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 46th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. It is Flight of the Nations Day, Art.
And a mass ascension. We've had a great Dawn Patrol show already this morning.
You know, I was stuck in traffic.
Yes.
And now I know why. The railroad crossings apparently were stuck and we couldn't get through. But it was fun because I was watching Dawn Patrol show on the live feed on my iPhone in my truck as I was driving in. That was so awesome.
Oh, great. I'm glad you got a chance to enjoy it there. We had a number of people already on our feed this morning. We'll attempt to interact with them. You can see it on balloonfiesta.com or on Facebook Live. We'll be interacting through Facebook Live this morning with you as well. Had a number of balloons up for our Krispy Kreme glow. Of course, 13 of them, a baker's dozen.
Oh, good.
And
speaking of Krispy Kremes and the baker's dozen.
Yeah.
Would go down well right about now. Yeah, thanks for doing Dawn Patrol show this morning. It let me have a bit of a lie-in, but as a result, I wasn't sure I'd even be here on time. I was stuck in traffic.
Of course, I also had to do PR for you this morning because there were a lot of people looking for you this morning because you're always here so early.
Well, that's true, yeah. And I learned my lesson. You know, my greatest nightmare in 28 years of doing this is that I would leave late, get caught in traffic, and couldn't be here.
Right.
And that's never happened, but this morning it almost did. But I took great comfort knowing you were here and could handle the show if I didn't get in time.
Well, thank you much.
But, yeah, I learned my lesson. I won't be doing any lie-ins for the next several days. That was a bit of a hassle. But at least I'm glad to know it was not just necessarily routine traffic. There was a traffic problem, so.
We are standing by for the launch of the balloon of the day, the colors, and the national anthem. This morning, the national anthem will be sung for us by the Cole Sisters. And so we're just moments away from that.
Now, is that
in fact,
Cole
I believe
as in K-O-H-L or K-O-L-E?
C-O-L-E.
C-O-L-E, okay.
And there goes the balloon of the day. Here's our national anthem, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave
The Cole sisters, ladies and gentlemen, and Michael Fleury flying Fleur de Tucson and the Loveless Health Systems banner, taking our colors out this morning. What a fabulous start.
Absolutely, and what a great rendition of the national anthem. Those young ladies, it's nice to get up early in the morning and hear some beautiful voices like that, especially here in the high desert. And so, yeah, thank you to the Cole sisters. That was absolutely awesome.
So, of course, this is a mass ascension day, but it is also Flight of the Nations with a number of countries represented here. We have them inflated along the middle of the field as well. Our ride balloons are inflating down there, and we're already starting down here in the first row as well. So we're off for a great morning, and we saw the Dawn Patrol go out of here fairly quickly. In fact, there goes the first one of our Flight of the Nations, and that is also one of our new special shapes. That is, because it's so new, I don't remember the name.
Well, I was going to say, I have a message from a friend in the Netherlands about the balloon, because we talked about it the other day, and she sent me, she sent a little correction. So I'm going to see if I could, pardon the sniffles there, if I could call that up real quickly. Here we go.
So we called it a baby lente, and I see on the back of the hat, I hadn't noticed that before, my daddy is a pilot on the back there from Belgium.
And my friend Ina Vanderkratz in the Netherlands sent me this note that says, just a quick note to correct you about the Belgian special baby lente. It is a baby girl with a beanie on her head and a pacifier in her mouth. The pilot got the inspiration for this balloon because he got a daughter, and she is called Lente, which is the Dutch word for spring. So thank you, Ina, for that information. And she saw us, she's watching, I'm sure, again today. She's been watching the live feed every day, and she saw us talking about that the other day, and apparently whatever it was that you said, I didn't say it.
Right, it was me. I'll take the heat on that one.
Whatever you said was slightly incorrect, and so she sent that nice note to let us know.
Thank you very much for that.
The backstory to that. So thank you for that, Ina, and good morning to you, or good afternoon to you over in the Netherlands.
So Pico is the next one up, the blue one with the kind of wings for ears, if you will. Sylvain Tremblay is bringing that to us from Quebec, Canada.
Absolutely. Oh, Canada.
So
some of our rainbow ride balloons are also getting off in this early first part of the ascension this morning. The team from Ireland is up and away in the center of the field. I mistakenly took them, as I was just saying, for one of the Rainbow Riders. This is actually Malcolm White and Pauline Baker from Ireland, and there you can see the green, white, and orange flag hanging below the basket. Well, we could see it for a moment. Now it's hidden by this balloon that's inflating in front of us. I think that's the Dr. Pepper balloon here in front. But that is Pauline Baker and Malcolm White. They are here from the Emerald Isle. And I want to say a shout-out to my good friend, Captain Aidan Murphy, who is also from Ireland, a balloonist who is sadly dealing with inoperable cancer. And all of us here, Aidan, send our love to you, my buddy. I know that Aidan would love to be here with us. Wonderful balloonist from the beautiful Emerald Isle of Ireland, and Pauline and Malcolm are both good friends of his as well, and they're high above us. And this is an older balloon here at Fiesta, the Kashari doll that they're flying.
Yes, the Kachina doll
there. The Kachina doll, I'm sorry, yep.
That was one that had been flown many times at the Red Rock Balloon Rally out there. And actually, we have a number of foreign pilots that have either borrowed a balloon or maybe they ship their balloon and borrow the bottom end. That would be the basket. There they are waving at us. Yep. Good morning.
Good morning, Pauline. Hello, Malcolm. Have a nice
great flight. You betcha.
There's another team from Ireland following them out. And the only reason I know that is because I see the flag.
I was just going to say, yep, I recognize the flag there, and you just beat me to it there.
Our team from Thailand has taken off over here in that gold and white balloon with the golden balloon. Do we have the Flight of Nations in our spotting chart separated out?
The list there.
The list, okay.
Actually, it's all of our international pilots that are in that list. So I also see the Festival International del Globo from Leon, Mexico. Get used to saying New Mexico here.
Don't get too into the accent there, because I'll start doing a Scottish accent.
Okay.
We'll be in real trouble then.
Javier Bueno as Oriz flying that one from Leon, Mexico.
I was trying to find our friends from Thailand real quickly while we can still see them, because they were just for the first time at the Plano Balloon Festival in Plano, Texas, just a couple of weeks ago. Got a chance to see them there, and on their way here to Balloon Fiesta.
Well, as you were talking about yesterday, the idea of the whole ballooning series here as we go around from them. So Singa, the name of that balloon, and Naithis Tongdi flying that from Bengsu District, Bangkok, Thailand.
Yes, indeed.
And there goes Captain Jack. We learned about Captain Jack yesterday off the other end. And
yes, and I wanted to make special note this morning about Captain Jack, because that is Kate Holzer, who is a wee pilot from Scotland, who's here this morning. And yesterday, as she flew overhead, we mistakenly said, I noticed the blue and white saltire of Scotland, which is the national flag of Scotland, and you can see it flying on the crown line. And then there was a yellow and red flag that we mistakenly took to be the New Mexico flag, because here on our
very similar
on our rooftop studio, we're flying the flags of New Mexico and the saltire of Scotland. However, that red and yellow flag, and I think it might be hanging below the basket there. Something is this morning. I can't quite make that out.
But looks like it is, yep.
But that flag was actually the lion rampant, and that is Scotland is unique in that it has two flags. That's actually the royal standard for the Queen. It typically flies when the Queen is in residence at her castle in Scotland called Balmoral.
Well, now that it's hanging directly from the basket instead of from the crown line, we can definitely see that better.
So the lion rampant and the Scottish saltire flying from Captain Jack there with a wee pilot from Scotland. Good morning, Kate. Kate Holzer, ladies and gentlemen. And
we saw
Captain
a few moments ago on the feed in our camera here the balloon from Taiwan. Meet Taiwan. Martin Lin flying that from Taiwan. Now we have Great Britannia on our screen.
Just overhead, yeah, red, white, and blue with the Union Jack flying high overhead. We have quite a large contingent of UK pilots that are here. In fact, the Queen's, what was this? The Queen's Guard?
The Queen's Guard,
that is launching one of the special shapes.
So I'm not sure who's flying the touchstone balloon for us, as Sherry White, who's been off participating in the America's Challenge gas balloon race.
Well, it's carrying an international flag.
It is.
That's the flag of Germany, and oh gosh, senior moment. Sherry's he runs the youth program over in Germany. Tomas Hora, thank you.
Oh, yep.
Thank
As soon as you got me there, I knew who we were talking about.
Good friend of Sherry and her co-pilot, Mark Sullivan. And since it has the German flag on it, I'm sure that's who's flying.
That makes perfect sense.
Yep.
The blue one here with the multicolor spikes in it, that is the balloon called 69. Jackie Hibbert is here from the Netherlands. Couple of Ultra Magic balloons going overhead here. One overhead and one more coming. Ultra Magic, of course, a balloon manufacturer from Spain. So we welcome them. And there's the Queen's Guard there.
Yeah, I was just scrolling, trying to bring the Queen's Guard up here real quickly. My allegedly computer gloves are almost semi-working this morning. So.
Busby, the Queen's Guard from Bristol, United Kingdom. Paul Burrows.
From Bristol, and flying here for his third year.
And then there's a nice shot of one of the Ultra Magic balloons that I just mentioned. We were talking about this one looking kind of like a demo there. I'm seeing it says 1980 to 2016, and a number of different countries, 5 weeks in a balloon, kind of advertising if not a record flight, certainly a adventurous flight.
I think that was the flight that they did originally across the continent of Africa.
Yes, that's probably
what that's
5
all
weeks.
About.
Yep.
The founders of Ultra Magic made that flight some years ago now.
So now we're starting to mix all of our balloons in with our Flight of the Nations here. There may be a couple of others going off.
I was going to say, just passing overhead before he gets out of view, Nitrofish, Louise Enrique Ribeiro de Forcenca, I think, is here from Sao Paulo, Brazil. We have a bunch of Brazilian contingent here with those special shapes. And, of course, as we've talked about earlier, they build new shapes each year, bring them here to Balloon Fiesta in hopes of a pilot seeing them and deciding that they just can't go home without it and selling it.
There you go.
There goes Sean Askren in the Intel balloon from here in Corporate Road. Not one of our international pilots, but getting in the air.
Saw the Krispy Kreme balloon fly out overhead. The wind's right here on the ground, a little brisk.
Yeah, it's a little brisk here on the
and
tower.
out of the north, it's kind of a piece of drainage. We'll have to get our weather guy over here and talk about that. A little drainage or maybe complicated here. But as we saw the Dawn Patrol, they only had to go up maybe about 500 or 600 feet. They slowed down, turned around, and started drifting out to the northwest.
Well, and you can see that already. If you look up high, you can see our baby Lente balloon has already found that drift and is headed off to the northwest, as is that other team from Ireland, the balloon that has the black and white vertical stripes and then overlaid the green, white, and orange of the nation of Ireland.
The balloon's on your screen there, the red, white, and blue one just kind of moving out of the picture there. That's Keith Lutz in high maintenance 2, flying the banner for Alaska Airlines, a new sponsor for us here at Balloon Fiesta. We welcome them. Thank them for their contributions. They gave away a number of airline tickets to navigators. Those are the volunteers, the 1,093 volunteers who are working the Balloon Fiesta.
There is that no, I thought that was the black sheep for a moment, but I'm looking at the backside of it, and it's not. That is our little pilot balloon. Just a second here, and there we go. That is the balloon called.
Well, it looks like, yeah.
It looks like To Fly, but it's actually Tolfy or Tolfy. I'm not sure which.
Yep.
Tolfy. That is Charles Gourmet flying, or Gourmet. Sorry, it's spelled like gourmet, but it says it's pronounced. We have a pronouncer on it. It says gourmet or gourmet. I guess it is gourmet.
Gourmet.
Yeah,
Gourmet. Yeah, gourmet.
It's early in the morning, and I'm still flustered from being late in traffic. But anyway, so Charles Gourmet is here from Hans Sarlesse from Belgium. I hope I got that close right. I'm sure Ina will send me a note, tell me how I messed that up. We need Ina here as a pronouncer for us.
Well, and like I said, I'm going to try and keep checking in on our Facebook page here. 41,000 folks watched our broadcast yesterday.
41,000?
Watched it just on Facebook. I haven't gone and pulled the numbers
on
from
the website?
balloonfiesta.com
wow.
as well. So, boy, we really appreciate you watching us there and sharing it out to all your friends. And, of course, a great conversation going on there. We'll attempt to interact with that as we go through the morning.
I think surely that must exceed any expectations that any of us had as to how this might work this first year.
It has certainly exceeded mine, and as I've shared that with the board of directors, their eyes get really wide and the mouth drops open and they don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
They're just,
wow.
Yeah. So it is great to have all of you along. And, of course, if you're posting your pictures to Instagram or tweeting on Twitter, be sure and use the hashtag Balloon Fiesta. We're watching there as well. We have so many sources of information this year that we haven't used in the past.
I know, and I tweeted a few times out, and I think my tweets are being discarded.
Yeah. Filtered out.
I think I'm being filtered. I'm ending up on the cutting room floor, as
There's
it were.
just so many of them that it's tough to get them all in there.
I know.
Yeah,
I mean, just
so
we're seeing people here. The Remax balloon team was tweeting this morning. Gail Wisman says, she just sent in a whole bunch of hashtags there.
Yep. And guess where Wells Fargo is today? A view inside the balloon there. Yep, looking at there.
Ah.
And speaking of sponsors, there's a couple of them right there. Canon, Phillips 66, and Pinion Coffee.
And Pinion Coffee, that's right. In fact, the hot chocolate that was just delivered to us.
From Pinion Coffee as well.
From Pinion Coffee, which
I was ready for that.
Well, I was too.
And breakfast from the Gondola Club too. Boy, yes.
Yeah. We're off to a healthy start this morning. Well, at least, yeah, I'll stick with that. We're off to a healthy start.
So they're telling me, Mr. Dave back there, I'm hearing that they can't hear us out there on the field. Any of the speakers out there?
Uh-oh. Well,
good thing we got a few thousand folks watching online.
I was going to say, it's a good thing we've got 10 or 20,000 people watching online who can hear us. there is the Don Chalmers balloon going airborne, and the balloon is called Enchanted. And that's, if you notice, if you look beyond the Don Chalmers Ford banner, there is multiple outlines of the state of New Mexico around the balloon in red.
Don Chalmers providing some vehicles to those officials that fly in and need some transportation while they are here.
Back in the day, they were provided me with a courtesy vehicle a number of times. And
then you started driving.
And I even purchased a vehicle out here one year from Don Chalmers, yeah.
Good
and
for you.
Last night we gathered over at the museum. My thanks to Jill and Marilee and Paul over there for providing us the facilities to gather. Several members of the Fly Every State World Record team are in town, and we got to spend a nice evening watching 4 hours of video that document the incredible flight that Andrew Holly did of all 50 states here in the United States. And so thank you to, again, to Jill and Paul and Marilee for arranging all of that over at the museum for us. It was a wonderful evening. And I mention that only because the van that the team used and drove over 20,000 miles in 43 days was purchased at Don Chalmers Ford.
There you go. A moment ago, we saw the Phillips 66 balloon high overhead, providing a lot of sponsorship here. Pilots do get kind of reimbursed through Phillips 66 for a little bit of their fuel to drive here. It's not certainly doesn't cover it all. Joe Zavada flying Phillips 66 for us. And there's the cannon balloon getting inflated.
Actually,
Johnny
I don't think Joe is here unless he's just arrived in, because he was part of the Fly Every State World Record team, and he did not join us last night. My understanding was he's not here this year.
He's the one listed to fly that balloon.
Is he? Well, okay. But
so maybe they subbed him out at the last minute.
Well,
and didn't tell me.
I think maybe they did, because I don't believe Joe's here this year, because we talked about that last night as to why he wasn't with us.
Yep, he's still listed. I just double-checked.
There is the missing link, which is also flying the balloon for the Garrity Group. Tom Garrity and his great staff handling media relations for us again this year, manning our media tent. I don't think, I got to get maybe I should just tweet and ask if I registered as media this year. I don't remember if I did or not. If I did, I have not gone over there and picked up my credential. Not that I need it, but, it's nice to have. So I should go over there and see Tom and at least say hello. And
he did make an appearance on our officials tower yesterday, and
did he?
I kind of waved at him there. Hey, we're hearing from Texas. Somebody's on their way from Florida. They're in the Houston airport watching us.
Outstanding.
So appreciate that. Tennessee is watching us as well. I saw earlier we had folks from Australia watching. South Carolina is on board here. And so thanks for watching. Thanks for letting us know that you're out there. And we'll, somebody's already putting to our feed penguins, and we're not talking about
I know.
They're faster than we are.
I was waiting on you to shut up so that I could.
Oh, thanks.
I won't mention it on air, but you know the cue that we have for that.
Yeah.
And I was about to flash that to you. Yeah, the penguins are in the air, and that is, was just talking about Andrew Holly and the great Fly Every State World Record he accomplished a year ago. There is Andrew in Tall Steve, which is the newest of the penguin family, flanked by his two parrots, Puddles and Splash. Chris Libachuk from Alaska flying one of the balloons. I'm not quite sure who's flying the other penguin. I should know that, but I've forgotten. But Puddles and Splash, you may remember, they proposed to each other here a year ago at Balloon Fiesta, and then earlier this summer announced that they were pregnant. And at the Longleat Balloon Festival just held a few weeks ago over in merry old England, they gave birth to Tall Steve. That is their new baby penguin chick. So thank you, Andrew Holly, for bringing the entire penguin family here with us.
Well, you can't leave one home at this point.
Well, no, you got to have mom. If you're bringing the baby, you got to have mom and dad here to take care of it.
That's right. Which one? Which pilot did you not remember?
Well, Andrew's flying Tall Steve.
Yes.
Chris Libachuk from Alaska is flying, I believe he's flying Splash.
Yes.
And so it's Puddles that I don't recall.
Dave Baker.
Dave Baker. Okay. Yep. So those are your pilots in the three penguins. Here's the Garrity Group balloon getting airborne. Again, the balloon called the Missing Link. And just to our left, the Cool Beans team got away quickly before we had a chance to talk about them.
So we just saw a nice picture from Tony and our guys down on the field. We have Larry Aarons down on the field. I haven't heard that he's...
Larry's back with us this morning.
Yep,
Good.
and he's down there on the field already, so we'll be checking in with him throughout the morning.
He's our roving reporter, which is, again, and not only is this whole thing of Balloon Fiesta Live is brand new, but so is that's a part of the brand new show that we're bringing to you, is having a live commentator and camera crew down on the field so they can bring us some of the excitement from down there. So, yeah, look forward to checking in with Larry.
So this Bill Walker right off the south end of the field here, and this blue one with the multicolored bands there.
And the Mission Linen Supply team is also about ready to go. Their golden yellow balloon on the far western side of the field with the multicolored starburst in the side. Mission Linen Supply has been with us, gosh, this is my 28th year here, and they've been here, I think, all 28 years, probably more than that. They supply all of the linens for not only our own sponsor hospitality, but all of the corporate tents throughout Balloon Fiesta. They're a huge service provider to us, and we thank them very much for that.
As Honeydew went out from here, we saw there was a little slit in the side of the balloon. That's really a turning vent opened on purpose to give that spin. We mentioned Larry Aarons just a moment ago. He is out there on the field. Larry, what do you got for us?
There he is.
Hey, guys. Thought we'd get out here by the Cannon balloon. Of course, Cannon, the presenting sponsor here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Wanted to show you kind of how you inflate a balloon here. And this is Johnny Petrin. We're going to have to get out of the way here. Johnny Petrin with the Cannon balloon. They just cold inflated it and now put the burner to it, got it stood up, and this is how she works. This is the basics of ballooning. Let's go talk to Johnny for just a moment here on Balloon Fiesta Live. Hey, Johnny, how are you? You're on Balloon Fiesta Live. How are you?
Good morning. We are thrilled to be at Balloon Fiesta on a beautiful day, flying the presenting sponsor Cannon's hot air balloon.
Beautiful. What a perfect day. Box working?
Really is a beautiful. The sun's going to come over the mountain here pretty soon. We're going to go fly around for an hour and try to come back and land in this nice, pretty green grass.
You attracted quite a crowd here.
Yeah, this is a prime spot. We've got some prime real estate. It's fun to have everybody this close to us.
Great to talk to you. Have a great flight.
Same to you. Thank you.
All right, there's Johnny Petrin and the Cannon balloon. The Zebra is out here somewhere, and that's one of the launch directors, and let him send off here in a moment. That's it from the Cannon balloon. Let's go back to Art and Glenn.
Thank you, Larry, and nice to see Johnny this morning.
Yep.
He's
bundled up. It's a little cool yet this morning.
It's a little chilly yet this morning. Yet not as bad as it was yesterday.
No,
but,
I don't think so. But I'm dressed a little warmer. I
not.
managed to take care of that. Changed the layers that I brought out here just a little bit.
I left one layer. I decided that hoodie yesterday was not terribly photogenic.
Oh, there you go.
And so,
well, because they keep taking these pictures.
I know they keep putting us on camera, so I left that off, and then I forgot to do anything with my hair this morning.
Hey, kind of look behind us. Look who's peeking in behind us there. Can you see on the monitor there? There's tall Steve back there.
Oh.
Yeah. Peeking in from the back.
Photo bomb by Paul.
Photo bomb
tall
in our
Steve.
picture. That's Andrew for
that's
you, right?
Andrew,
yeah,
absolutely.
Just photo bomb right
he is
here.
nothing if not a media hog.
Oh, there you go.
But I use that in the best and most loving term,
of course. It was great chatting with him yesterday morning.
Yeah, Andrew was up on the rooftop studio with us yesterday, and we had a chance to visit with him about the world record, about the Penguin family, and about the Longleat Balloon Fiesta, or festival. They don't call them fiestas over there, festival. And while
Which really makes it interesting when you announce festivals and fiestas and trying to keep them all straight.
Yeah, it gets a little tricky sometimes. And while Larry was talking with Johnny Petrin, the Cymbaloo team flew past us. Cymbaloo, the Lion balloon, is the iconic marketing balloon for Longleat, which is now the largest balloon festival in all of merry old England, and also is a wildlife safari park that you could drive through and see all sorts of wild animals, lions and tigers and bears and monkeys and great stuff there.
So we just saw another shot of the Cannon basket there. Johnny's got his passengers
about ready
in
to
there.
launch, I think.
About ready to take out of here.
Hey, you could spot the Wonder at Balloon Fiesta.
I spotted it.
There it is. Spot the Wonder is Chris and Amanda Savia flying the Wonder balloon for Wonder Bread, and they have an online photo contest going on. If you take a picture of the Wonder balloon, if you spot the Wonder, and then post it on social media using the hashtag Spot the Wonder, then they have a media monitoring group that will go through after Balloon Fiesta and pull all of those photographs that use the hashtag, and then they somehow they come up with a prize winner and award some very nice prizes. So there is Spot the Wonder, and a chance for you to get some pictures this morning. And again, when you post them, and if you're posting them on social media, use the Spot the Wonder hashtag, but also use hashtag Balloon Fiesta so that we can see it and share it as well.
So our folks on the stream here told us about the time I looked up Dave Baker, that it was Dave Baker flying the Penguin. We're hearing from Southwest Oklahoma, San Antonio. Folks from Las Vegas have sent us in here. Somebody says, love the Penguins here. Also have, there was one I was looking somebody's wondering if Coyote Moon is at Fiesta. You want to talk about Coyote Moon?
Well, Coyote Moon was originally my balloon. And
there goes Johnny, by the way.
There goes Johnny, and Johnny's waving to us as he launches out in the cannon balloon. Coyote Moon is not here. It was my balloon and did fly here for a few years. A friend from England actually flew it one year because I was here on the tower talking. And then a few years ago, I sold it to my very dear friend Greg Taggart out in California. Greg was watching the feed earlier this week, might be this morning. If so, hello, Greg. And he mentioned that he hopes to be back with Coyote Moon here at Fiesta in 2019, and that would be his 40th year.
Wow.
So looking forward to seeing Greg come back. But no, Coyote Moon is not here, but thank you, whoever that was, for asking. And she still looks good. Beautiful balloon.
Jane Greer.
Oh, Jane Greer. Oh, she's one of my former crew people down in Mississippi, or actually in Vidalia, Louisiana. And Coyote Moon, a beautiful balloon that was built some years ago by my good friends at Lindstrand Balloon. So, hi, Jane. It's nice to hear from you. Hope the family and everyone doing well down there.
Craig Kennedy's online, too. Our good buddy Craig watching us from Phoenix.
Yeah, Craig, of course, the original producer of the Dawn Patrol show.
Getting a number of our ride balloons in the air now from Sundance Balloons. Of course, they are under contract to Rainbow Riders, the official concessionaire here. Lots of people getting their bucket list updated today with a balloon ride out of here.
And what a day it is. You know what? And again, it's a crystal clear day. I mean, I don't know when we've had a balloon fiesta when there have been this many absolutely crystal clear days. Not a cloud as far as you can see. Looking all the way out over the mesa, you can see the mountains in the distance. We have the Sandias here to our east, of course, and there is not a cloud anywhere.
And I'm looking straight up overhead because they're starting to come back at us.
I get dizzy when I do that.
And the sun is hitting those balloons up there,
high,
so the colors are popping up. You're actually even starting to see it out to the northwest as well. In fact, I can even see the shadow coming across the ground over there. It's the west side of Albuquerque is now in the sun. It's almost to the river and should be here shortly, as Johnny Petrin talked to us about.
Yep, he was right. And of course, the sun does rise.
It does rise over the
mountain, and it usually rises every day. So
in the east too,
yeah, in the east. So that's usually a good thing. The U.S. Bank balloon is now in the row of balloons that are about to launch. That's Scott McClinton in that balloon. There's Humpty Dumpty, who had a great fall. Hopefully will not have any great falls here this week. That is Rich Lawhorn. And just beside him, in the City of Plano balloon, the white balloon with the black, blue, red, and white spiral pattern around it, that is Billy Broker from Plano, Texas. Plano host to its very own fine balloon festival. This was their 38th year, if I remember correctly. Well, I was just there a few weeks ago.
So, Stephen, yes, Roger Hoppy is flying here today, flying volcanic motion. We see the balloon. We'll try and point that out to you there as well. Which way are they flying? They're flying south off the field, then they're going high and flying to the northwest.
So the box is working, but it's not exactly a square box today.
No, little left-handed.
A little bit of a left-handed box this morning.
Good morning, Keith. Thanks for the shout-out online.
Leaning a little bit to the left, the box is this morning.
Well, it's kind of like yesterday's. It just, I mean, it was a really floppy box. It just, every time you turned around, it was going a different direction.
There was some lively discussion in our group last night with Brad Tiemeyer, who is the official meteorologist for the Balloon Fiesta, joined us. He was the meteorologist for our Fly Every State World Record team. And there was some lively discussion with a couple of the pilots about what happened to that easterly flow he said would be there and the winds that he had forecasted. And he was defending his forecast and doing a pretty good job of it. But, yeah, it was a weird weather day yesterday. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I
I was going to catch up here on,
Okay,
on a
yeah.
few of these.
Go right ahead.
The things are coming fast and furious over here. So a shout out to the Colorado team that I see that they're putting the balloon in there. One of the crews is taking a morning off but watching at home.
That's the Colorado State balloon, and it is a replica of the Colorado State flag with the addition of course, of the snowy Rocky Mountains on the top of the balloon.
Number of positive love it comments, especially the fact that we are uninterrupted, no commercials.
That's true. No commercials except for my occasional mentioning of the Scottish Saltire that's flying from the rooftop studio. And I mention it now because high overhead is the Hendrix Gen balloon. And Hendrix Gen is a product of Scotland and makes for a very nice gin and tonic when you have the time. It's rather unique because it's made from cucumbers, so that's one of the main ingredients. And you can actually see cucumbers hanging on the side of the balloon there in that beautiful artwork that is all around that balloon. So wonderful product of Scotland flying with us. So we've seen two examples of my adopted homeland of Scotland in the air today.
There you go. We had a shot on the feed just a moment ago of Arabelle. In fact, there's the bottom end of Arabelle.
Of Arabelle, yeah. That's an utterly terrible shot. See, there it is again.
There it is again.
Utterly bad shot.
But we can stay on that shot, Tony, if you can hear us there.
Yeah, I don't know if he can hear us. If he can pan down and stay and
there
take a
you
look inside the balloon.
Exactly. So what we've been talking about, and these special shapes, while they have all kinds of shapes inside.
There you go. See, he's going to move.
There.
Look at this. He's going to move right in and see those two little white dots. Those are actually holes in the inside fabric of the balloon that allows the air to flow out and fill those appendages like the udders that we're seeing there. Utterly disgusting this morning.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, I can't let go of that pun. My bad.
Yeah.
Arabelle is always one of the favorite special shapes here at Balloon Fiesta.
So I see the U.S. Bank balloon, Scott McClinton from Kentucky, taking that off from and next to him, your friend.
At the same time, Rich Lawhorn in Humpty Dumpty. And
do we tell that Rich got penalty in the competition yesterday?
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, maybe we shouldn't say.
Okay, we won't say that.
We won't tell anybody. Speaking of the competition, Brad Tiemeyer, I can't talk this morning, shared with us a video last night of the winning throw on the boat. Did you see that?
I did.
Have you seen it? I mean,
I did see it.
Through that marker, we talked about the winning, the best possible score was right on the bow of the boat. Well, if you know anything about boats, there's the bow of the boat, there's the light that sits right on the edge of the boat, and then there's just a little bit of room between that and the rail at the edge.
Yes.
And he put his marker right between the light and the rail's edge. It was an awesome drop and really fun to see.
I think there were 3 or 4 that were right up in there.
All in that area.
Because there are the 4 of them in the top 4, 1,000 points, 999, 998, and 998.
Yep.
That's how close the top was, those top 4. 17 of the folks actually did get to the target of some sort yesterday, whether it was the islands or the boat or the shore there.
Line, yeah.
So 17 of them actually got here and scored, which is pretty impressive with the way the winds were going yesterday.
And those top 4, of course, were all on the boat. They had to be on the boat.
They were.
That was the best possible
Robert
score.
Raper, Maury Petrin, Jason Buckner, and Nick Donner are those top 4.
And Robert was the guy who won the task with that amazing drop. And I think they were going to show the video at pilot briefing this morning. I'm not sure if they did, but it's a spectacular video. Maybe we can get our hands on it at some point and put it on the feed as well.
We can. Of course, before we go live, where actually the stream starts about, somewhere depending on the morning, an hour or more before, and we're running all kinds of information and videos and things like that in there, mostly for the enjoyment of the folks here on the field, but we get it started for those of you at home as well to watch on the feed. So tune in early before our live commentary to be able to see some of those extra things. Hot stuff taking off off the right end of the field and flying off like it's hot off over there as well.
Yeah, all those chili peppers around the balloon. That's one of my favorite balloons. I've always loved that design since I first saw it here at Fiesta.
It is. I got a chance to fly that a year or so ago.
Did you? How
which
cool.
was kind of nice. Yeah.
Well, you're one up on me then, because that is one of those racing balloons we've talked about so much this week, and I've never had the chance to fly a racer, so you're ahead of me on that count.
Well, I don't know if we should report this comment here. Somebody says they were planning on coming down to the field, but they're staying home and watching it, and they're saying it's almost better.
Well,
it's our intent is to make it feel like you're here.
Yeah.
But we certainly do want you to come on out to the field and as good a job as we can do, there's nothing like being on the field.
That's a very nice comment, and thank you so much for that. But there's nothing like being here, I can tell you. I mean, this is my 28th year here, and as I said, I was stuck in traffic this morning and watched you doing the Dawn Patrol show on my iPhone in the truck, which was an incredible experience to be able to do that. It also made me worry as to whether I was going to get here on time or not, because I was seeing how quickly that was progressing. And it did seem to go by so much faster watching it than it does when I'm up here doing the commentating for the Dawn Patrol show. We share those duties now. And I thought, wow, that sure is going by fast. And then I looked at the clock in the truck and realized, no, I've just been stuck in traffic for 40 minutes. That's why it seems to be going fast. But thank you for the comment. But there's nothing like being here, trust me. Nothing like being here.
That is true. Got to be here for this. So there goes, before we take that one, there's Master Yoda out there.
Oh, yeah. The Force is with us again. And that's Darth Vader probably inflating there beside him. Looking back here, there goes that away. The balloon with the yellow border in the around the equator and the arrows that are going actually counterclockwise. That's interesting.
Well, it's as long as it goes that way.
They're going that way,
good, I guess, right?
so. Everything's
so
going
the other
that
one that
way.
was in the picture there with the stars that was on the picture on the right-hand side, that's Starlight. Peggy Watson from San Paulo, California.
We are celebrating the 46th year of Balloon Fiesta, of course, and it all began at the Coronado Center. You can see their balloon in this massive group that's about to launch now, rainbow-colored with a royal blue background. You see the band on the side. The band around the middle of the balloon, royal balloon, it says Coronado Center, birthplace of Fiesta.
And Larry Arians is out there on the field for us again this morning.
Oh, good.
Larry, what have you worked on to now?
Look at these guys. It's great. All right. Hey, Art and Glenn, we're out here at the Yoda balloon. The force is mighty strong out here. And so is the burner. Getting ready to take off. The Yoda balloon will be heading up. This balloon is from Belgium, of course, in keeping with our international theme today. And we're just trading out some equipment. And what I love about hanging out around the Star Wars balloons is the costume characters. They're all out here keeping people around the perimeter. But Pilot's a little busy. I'm not going to bother him right now. He's getting ready to take off. But one of the great special shapes and one of our international balloons, Yoda, about to go up. Okay, back to you right there at the announcer tower, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry. Let's stay on that shot. I was going to say we could maybe stay on that shot and watch it take off out of there. And okay, we're going to be able to do that, looks like.
Yeah, and Yoda and Darth Vader both are brought to us by a father-son team out of Belgium. One of my great ballooning souvenirs that I treasure quite a deal, quite a lot, is an issue of Ballooning Magazine that we did a few years ago when Darth Vader first came out. We had a wonderful shot of Darth Vader in the sky, and once we produced the magazine, I sent it with a letter to George Lucas and asked if he would autograph a copy. We were having, the Balloon Federation of America was having its national convention that year. I think this was 2008, if I remember correctly. And so I sent it out to George Lucas and asked if he would autograph the magazine for us to auction off. And I got back a very nice letter from George saying that he would be happy to. He did indeed sign the magazine. We auctioned it for several $100s, but he was also kind enough to sign a second copy for me.
Oh,
and
that's
so I
great.
have that in my private collection. And then later I brought the copy of the same magazine out and had both the father and son who fly the two balloons sign it for me as well. So
nice.
That's among my treasured ballooning souvenirs.
So Judy agrees with us. The live feed is awesome, but there's nothing like being here.
Oh, absolutely. There's
Thanks,
nothing
Judy.
like being here. Speaking of the international contingent, as we have been throughout this Flight of the Nations, and as you just heard Larry talking about, I can see if you look across the field there, Osito Bimbo. He's so tall, he's staring back at us between and above some of the balloons that are between us and him. But Osito Bimbo, and I think maybe he's launching right now.
There he
that would
goes.
be Bill Baker flying that. They are here from the Bimbo Bakery, and we had Michael Leonard here with us yesterday from Bimbo. Gave us some very nice gifts. Thank you for that. And Bimbo Bakery, of course, is a brand that you may or may not be familiar with, depending on what part of the United States you're from. It's a brand well known in the Hispanic community, not so much perhaps in other communities, but they are working to expand the brand's recognition across the United States. One reason why Osito Bimbo is touring the U.S., and but yet they are kind of the corporate veil or umbrella company, if you will, for a lot of brands that you do know. For example, like Entenmann's and Thompson's English Muffins.
Oral Wheat is another one.
Orally, I think. There's several. Oral Wheat, I think it was.
Yep.
And
Rainbow.
And Rainbow?
I believe Rainbow is in there, too. They've got a whole list. I was really surprised when they were here the first time last year.
Yeah, I was shocked to see how many companies
they are under theirs.
How many brands are actually under theirs. So they're working hard to really increase the awareness of the brand Bimbo, and it's great to have them here. And you can go by there. If you take a picture, take a selfie with Bimbo. Now it's going to be hard to do now because he's flying away. But if you get a selfie with him, take it by and show it to them at the Bimbo display here at Fiesta Field on our main street. You can get registered to win one of 50 great little stuffed Bimbo bear puppets.
There you go.
You and I were lucky enough. They were very kind to give us each one, so we didn't have to register to try to win anything. But they're giving away 50 of them here at Fiesta this year.
And while you're taking those pictures, be sure and post them to Instagram or tweet them out using the hashtag Balloon Fiesta. We're trying to watch that feed, too, as well. So we're watching social media. We're watching our Facebook Live. We're watching the balloons.
We're watching the balloons. We're watching
our monitors. Trying to bring
it all
together.
we need about 6 eyes up here each, I think, to watch everything.
We're going to have to add some spotters back to our list for next year here.
A couple of good friends of mine getting in the air in 2 yellow balloons in the center of the field here. The yellow balloon, golden yellow, with the red and blue diamonds in the center. Red and blue horizontal stripes top and bottom. That is my good friend Ken Drawn. Ken is here from the great state of North Carolina, and I remember years ago when Ken and I first met, I was commentating at various ballooning events around the country, and he always said, if I ever get close enough to the target, I sure want to hear you talk about me. Well, he's gotten close to the target several times since then.
Have you talked about him?
And I have. I've talked about him, but I want to take the opportunity to talk about him this morning. He's one heck of a nice guy and does a great deal of charity work in the state of North Carolina with his balloon, and just an all-around wonderful guy. Just next to him, Steve Jones from Belton, Texas, in the gold and yellow topped balloon with the orange and reddish checkerboard squares down at the bottom.
Steve.
Just passing overhead. Well, I think he's reaching for the burner.
He's reaching for the burner there.
Waving.
Yeah, he was going to do that.
But Steve Jones out of Belton, Texas.
There he goes. Look at that shot straight up. Are we getting good with the on our monitor?
On the monitor, yeah.
We're getting pretty good with
you said
our
looking straight up, and I looked straight up. Not at the monitor. There goes Steve's balloon.
Our camera guy's doing a great job. The Black Sheep was in the shot there for a moment, flying on by.
And out in the field, Yoda has now gone airborne. So Larry's friend, Master Yoda, is in the air, as is the escaped Cod, our little black and white striped convict balloon.
And the zigzag balloon with the pennants we had on there a second ago, Debbie Waltman from Colorado, flying No Worries. And you did say the con was up, I think I heard you.
I did, yeah. I just mentioned that the con was up, yeah.
The one of the many red, white, and blue balloons here as well is taking off. And there seems to be a very popular theme coming out of balloons now. A lot of red, white, and blue balloons. That's SS America there. Bill Fitzgerald from Corpus Christi, Texas.
There's almost as many red, white, and blue balloons as there are multicolored balloons.
Yes, there are. There are, and trying to keep them all straight is tough.
It's kind of an inside joke with balloonists because you always ask them, somebody says, I saw a hot air balloon. Really? What color, what did it look like? Well, it was multicolored. Oh, really? Well,
what kind of shape was it?
Yeah, I can narrow that down. It was multicolored. Good for it.
There's a good shot of the SS America on our monitor.
Hey, the Admiral Nelson's spiced rum balloon is getting airborne now. It's one of, I think we've only seen about 2 balloons here that have purple. We talked about that a few days ago as the base.
I can think of 3.
Call 3? Okay.
Purple Haze, Admiral Rum here, and Plum Fired Up. They're the 3 I'm thinking about.
Okay, yeah, Plum Fired Up I'd forgotten about. You're right. Purple Haze, I think, has already launched this morning.
Yes, he's already gone by. Dave Melton with that one.
Saying much about him, but Admiral Nelson's spiced rum is airborne. It's the purple balloon in the middle of the field with a white sunburst around both sides. And on one side, you'll see the banner that reads for Admiral Nelson Spiced Rum. I'm surprised
that's really interesting.
None of that has made it up here onto the rooftop studio yet.
Well, and I'm looking at how slow Admiral Rum is moving versus the balloons off on the west or east side of the field. Oh, I do see Judy Nakamura over there on the far west side. That's the yellow one with the blue at the top and the bottom.
Yep.
Judy, of course, the Chief Justice of the New Mexico State Supreme Court.
State Supreme Court, and she was one of the 2 pilots of the day on opening Saturday, our opening ceremonies, right? Didn't she fly out one of the flags?
She flew the Fiesta balloon, flying the governor and the first gentleman. Brought us some great pictures from the air of our opening ceremonies that day.
And the governor has joined us here in our rooftop studio when it used to be the super secret announce tower in the past, and we're a little disappointed she hasn't come up to say hello this year.
It's probably too public now,
Oh, well, it could be.
It could be.
But,
I saw the Civil Air Patrol balloon take off. Saw them work the target yesterday pretty well. And the Preventive Pest Control balloon over there, Al Lowenstein flying that one. And that is the green one that has there it is right there, the Black Widow spiders on the sides of it.
The folks at the Admiral Nelson Spiced Rum were waving and hollering down to us, and I waved back. I hope they got the message that we'd certainly like to, we'd be amenable to sampling some of their product if they wanted us to.
You betcha.
So
put
yeah,
it with some of the Coca-Cola project, and that would,
yeah, a little Coke product and some spiced rum product.
That would work very nicely.
It might not be quite so chilly up here after that. I'm not sure the balloon feed would be, how that might work, but we certainly wouldn't be quite as chilly, I think. I think they should have called that balloon arachnophobia. I mean, those spiders on the side of the balloon, that's just kind of creepy. I'm not a big fan of spiders.
Al, one of the local pilots here in Albuquerque, does a lot of teaching of students. He's also a radio dealer for two-way radio control.
Matter of fact,
radio broadcast handhelds. That's what I was talking about. Yes.
In fact, some years ago, when I was able to acquire a national radio license for the Balloon Federation of America, it's one of the many member benefits of the BFA is you are, as a balloon pilot, you're licensed, you and your crew, to use our radio frequencies nationally. And Al Lowenstein offered our BFA members some great deals on radios at the time. And so
I was at the safety seminar for pilots yesterday, and I happened to be sitting at the table with Ray Bear. And Ray said, so I got to ask you, what do you do when David, that's his son, and he take off because their balloon's identical? So I told him I pick out my Canon binoculars here, and I look in the basket to see who's flying. So this multicolor one here, it's called Kaleidoscope, and that is Ray.
Yeah, there's about 6 multicolored balloons in the air, so be a little more specific, will you?
Well, it's right over the center of the field. It's got a yellow at the bottom, then it kind of goes blue, purple, orange, kind of a reddish, orange, yellow, and then repeats going back up.
See, now that's better.
So that's the one that's in the air coming over the field.
Well,
there's
and
another
the other
one
is just now launching.
Just launching. They launch next to each other.
They do.
Confuse the heck out of us on purpose. Yep. So that's Ray high above. That's son Dave down there. I did ask him one time about how do you tell them apart, and they said you can't. They actually are identical.
Yeah.
In fact, I forget which. I think it's the one Dave's flying is like the 7th version of that balloon there.
Well, and Ray Bear is
there. He is waving.
Ray is an examiner here. He's the guy who signs off new young pilots or new old pilots, as the case might be. Ray is also a past president of the Balloon Federation of America. He was president of the board of directors when he was on the board for a few years. It was great fun to work with Ray as editor of Ballooning Magazine. I've worked with my fair share of BFA presidents over the past 20 years, and Ray was one of the best. So Dave is in the air, and just behind him now is Bud Person in Screwed Up Gator. And Bud is sponsored by Elon and 7-Eleven. They were Balloon of the Day, I believe, yesterday, or perhaps the day before.
Day before, I believe, yep.
My days begin to run together here. And Screwed Up Gator is that blue, orange, and white spiraled balloon that's drifting slowly left to right over the center of the field. By the way, quick history is, and I've told this story before, so apologies to those of you that have been watching the feed every day and are starting to hear us say some of the same things all the time. But that was the first spiral pattern balloon ever constructed by Aerostar Balloons.
Checking in on our feed here, Saga Japan is checking in. We're happy to have that. Also Virginia, Rock Springs, Wyoming, and there was another one I had here just a minute. I've lost it there. But so we're. And somebody wants to know if John Kugler, if they're flying today. John's here. I've seen his balloon go over. I haven't seen him yet this morning.
Haven't seen him this morning.
Yeah.
There is the Viking ship balloon, though. You've talked about that earlier this week.
Yes, the Viking on one side, the Viking head on the other, and then if you look carefully at the
turquoise
pattern and
dog bone.
the dog bone in the other there as well. Larry Ahrens is down there on the field for us again this morning. Larry, what you got?
Hey, thank you, Art. Thank you, Glenn. We're at Arabelle, the cow, of course, from Creamland Dairies. Easily one of the most popular balloons out here at the Balloon Fiesta. And looks like Arabelle's going to fly today. Let's see if we can get a word with the crew here. Let's go on. Can you come around here, Tony, and let's see if we can get a conversation going here. Hi, guys. How are you? Hi, Larry Ahrens with Balloon Fiesta Live.
Hey, how are
We're
you?
streaming it live on the internet.
Excellent.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
And you are the pilot.
I am. Yeah.
Your name?
Dale Ritchie.
Nice to see you. Is Arabelle flying today?
I don't think so. We've got this low-level inversion, and it's still moving pretty fast. The guys coming off the surface are really moving, so I just don't want to end up out in Corrales and be doing 15 knots in a cow, because there's not much place to land out there, even at that speed. So
yeah, well,
we'll probably fly a little round balloon actually out of here once we'll just static this for the crowd for a little while and let everybody see it, and then we'll.
This is a popular balloon, as you know.
It's been the favorite for years. Yeah.
It's great to talk to you. It's a lot. This crew works so hard to get this balloon up.
They do. Yeah. They do. They're awesome. Yeah. We've had the same crew. A lot of these guys have been around for 20 years or crewing for this balloon. So.
Well, come by and see Arabelle. Well, you can't miss Arabelle. She's. Yeah. Great to talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have fun. Okay, Arabelle, back to you guys, Art and Glenn.
Direct
Thank
from
you,
the horses or the cow's mouth there that we're going to have an opportunity to see it here on the field. They're not going to fly it out because of this high-speed wind right here.
I was going to say, when Larry said that he thought they were going to fly, I was thinking, well, I'd be surprised because it's still a bit breezy for a shape of that size and that mass. And Arabelle is a big, flat-sided balloon, essentially. And as Dale Ritchie, the pilot, mentioned, it takes quite a bit of space to land that balloon under calm conditions, and even more so dealing with a little bit of wind, which these guys might be when they finally do make a decision to land.
So we have volunteers for sponsors showing up on our feed now. Travis says he'd come help you like he did at Freedom Weekend
Aloft. Yeah, Travis.
He says he'll come help you spot balloons and pilot names there.
Yeah. Travis is a great friend, and a couple of times I was able to do it when the U.S. Nationals were held out in Anderson, South Carolina, where Freedom Weekend was at one time. Took my balloon out there and flew in the Nationals, and Travis and his wife crewed for me. They're great folks. I've known them for a long, long time.
Good morning, Colorado. Glad that you are joining us as well. Look at them all, just kind of heading out to the west.
I'm surprised we don't see more dropping into the river, though. I see Johnny Petrin out there in the cannon balloon. See him just above the treetops. But I don't see a lot of others down playing in the river this morning.
I see Ultra Magic over there and the Spirit of 76
balloon.
Oh,
okay. Yeah,
there's a number
couple
there.
Yeah, but not nearly the numbers I would have thought.
But the wind speeds on the ground here are a little quick, as we heard Dale Ritchie from Arabelle tell us, and as we're witnessing right here on the field.
Yeah, it's still a little breezy here on our rooftop studio. So
this is one of those get up, go high, go out to the northwest, out to Corrales, Rio Rancho area out there where there's a lot of room there. Because when we come down, you're coming down as, whatever the wind speed is, 10, 15 knots, whatever that may be. It takes a little while to slow it down. You're going to probably drag a little bit. We need some wide open spaces to make that happen, and the wide open spaces at down are out that direction.
Well, and if you look out that direction, you can see that row of American flags along the western arroyo there, and they're showing some pretty good wind speed at surface level, as we're feeling here on the rooftop studio as well. And ideally what happens is once the sun comes up and begins to heat everything up, that if that is low-level drainage wind that we heard Brad Tiemeyer telling us about yesterday, then that drainage will eventually mix down or mix away with the calmer winds. And so hopefully by the time these guys do come to land out there in Corrales, the wind will have calmed down a bit and we won't have any wind issues for landing.
Hopefully that'll be the case. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
I haven't had a chance to chat with Brad this morning, and we were not obviously at pilot briefing, but so I'm not sure what his forecast was.
Our plan is to send a camera to pilot's briefing tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
Not to broadcast it live, but to be able to kind of let folks get a feel for what it's like to be at pilot's briefing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of on our list. It's one of the things we've talked about how we might be able to bring to the feed pilot's briefing. How much of that, but we're still working through some of the specifics and details. So we'll probably add that in next year to be able to bring some pilot's briefing opportunities to you as well.
Want to do a quick shout out to the balloon that is farthest left here to the west in this group. It's a red-blue spiral with black and gold accent. You see the gold glinting in the sun there. That's Ken Lair and his lovely wife, Marianne. They're here from Sacramento, California, and Ken has the distinction, I'm not sure that he would call it that, but the distinction of being the only pilot that I ever trained to fly. I taught Ken to fly some years ago, back when I was living in Sacramento, California, as editor of Balloon Life magazine at the time. And he walked into our office one day and announced that he wanted to learn to fly and started crewing for me, and then eventually bought the balloon and taught him to fly. And he survived it all, to his credit, more so certainly than mine. But it was enough of an experience for me to know that I didn't enjoy teaching. It was not for me. There were too many days where we were out flying in his balloon, and it was a gorgeous day to fly, and I wanted to be in control of the balloon. I was a pilot, and I wanted my hand on the burner, and I wanted to fly the balloon. But as an instructor, I had to just, kind of sit there in the basket and let Ken fly. And, so I decided, I'm not into this instructing thing. So, but I felt like I've done my payback to the sport. I've at least taught one younger pilot than me to fly a balloon. So.
Well, and I did check out the genealogy database, and we do have all that recorded in there.
Oh, my goodness.
I think we figured that out last year or somewhere through the process of putting that together. So it's an interesting project to see if we can track who was whose father, son, mother, etc., through the whole genealogy area of hot air balloon pilots. Interesting project. So, pilots and crews, those of you who are listening and watching along those lines, be sure and check that out. You can read about it in the current edition of the Ballooning Magazine, or check it out from your local balloon club as well to be able to get a part of that.
We were talking not long ago about how good it would be to have a little Coca-Cola and Admiral Nelson spiced rum.
Yep.
And right here in front of us, almost on cue, is the red and white balloon, the new Coca-Cola balloon. Coca-Cola back with us as our official soft drink sponsor after a few years break away from us. And but they go way back into the 80s. We were talking yesterday about those wonderful Coca-Cola vests that pilots used to get year after year after year as a pilot gift here. So, excuse me, good to have Coca-Cola back. Glow Kehoe flying that balloon. And then high overhead, the balloon Maverick. It's gold and yellow at the top with a rainbow and royal blue spiraled stair step going up and around the balloon. That is pilot Lee Little. And the balloon formerly known as Coyote Rising and is now called Mustang. And that was the second of my balloons that have flown here at Fiesta. And now under new ownership with Lee Little flying. And Dean Stockton is away in one of our two Zebra, or Zebra, depending on the part of the world. And since we have an international audience, I'll pronounce it Zebra. Balloons, it's the pink balloon. You can see the black and white striped zebra tail, or zebra tail, facing us. And if he spins it around, and he does have turning vents, I can see that in the side of the balloon.
Well, he turned it the other day for us.
He did turn it. I think you heard us talking about it. I'm not sure you could hear us this morning. But on the other side of the balloon, maybe we'll get a look at it, is the zebra's head or face. And speaking of pink balloons, to our right is Princess Nellie. This is the third generation of Nellie balloons. The Princess Nellie is the follow-on to Nellie B, who is the follow-on to Nellie. And Princess Nellie with her nice little silver and pink tiara. And there goes just overhead. In a minute, we'll get a straight-up shot. If you can pan the camera straight up to the zebra balloon, we'll see the face, perhaps, of
Good morning, Dean.
the zebra. Hey, Dean. Dean Stockton is the immediate, or rather, Dean Carlton is the immediate past president of the Balloon Federation of America. Sherry White, Sherry Edwards White, who, of course, is making her way back from the America's Challenge event is the new president of the Balloon Federation of America. So congratulations to her.
Yes, all the balloons in the America's Challenge have now landed safely.
They have. We had 2 break the distance record.
And a third come very close to it.
Yep.
Very close to it as well. So, yep, we'll be talking about that later this morning and catching you up on that as we get through. There was a shot of we did just get a shot of the zebra head just as it went over the roof there. So
yeah, I sometimes forget. I get busy watching the balloons in front of us, and I forget we have this nice TV monitor in front of us, too.
Well, it's just one more thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's just one more thing to watch while we're up here.
Yeah.
There's the armadillo, which is a new shape brought to us from, again, our friends in Sao Paulo, Brazil. But quite a Texas flair there with his Stetson hat, the 2 6 guns, the 5-pointed star on the gun belt, and the cowboy boots. Definitely a Texas character, that
is. And I see following him out, the frog balloon out there.
Well, we have a couple of frogs, a couple of 3.
And this one is Hyla the frog. The other one is Kermie. This one is Hyla the frog from the United Kingdom. John Viner flying the Hyla the frog for us there.
Well, and what about the frog with the crown? Is it here again this year?
I don't think that one is here.
One of was that John Kluger's balloon?
I'm not remembering, but I do see Simba out there. Not to be confused with Simbaloon, but Simba the lion. Simbaloo.
Not loon, but Lou.
And so not to be confused with that one. So Simba's out there, Todd Monahan from Lake George, New York.
And there is the new Verizon balloon. Verizon is the new sponsor with us this year.
Knew we had a picture of Simba and decided to kind of eclipse right through it there.
Yep.
So it is definitely not calming down here on the ground. These first, what would you say, about 500 feet or so? Still pretty quick. Then once they get up and start moving back to the north, it certainly seems to slow down a little bit. Hey, I see my friends, the Sandia Sun, let's see, the yellow one is Sandia Sunrise balloon way up there in the middle of that. Of course, Barbara Fricke and Peter Cuneo own that balloon. They also were on the America's Challenge race, coming in third. But their friends Sabrina and Stefan Handel flying that here this week. So another one of our foreign pilots, they are from Germany.
And I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I drink Dos Equis, and that's because the Dos Equis balloon has gone airborne now just in front of main stage, the black balloon with the gold Dos Equis logo, and that is Scott Avelman, I believe, who is flying for Dos Equis. And following him out is the Farmers Insurance Group balloon.
Rod Baca.
How does that go? We are farmers. I forget.
You know, I always want to get State Farm and Farmers mixed up here, so I don't want to sing the wrong song.
Yeah.
I just know you're not in the right hands with State Farm.
Something like
or
that.
Or Farmers, yeah.
One of those.
Because that's one of those others there, yep.
Farmers, I think, are the ones who insure it because they've seen it. Isn't it? We are farmers. Bump, 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 bump. Yeah, that's it. Hey, speaking of farmers, look, way out there. Who do you see?
Oh, Tall Steve is out there. Actually, look how far out Bimbo is.
Osito Bimbo is up there as well. Way out there.
They're way out there. And a number of those. In fact, looking way out and way high. So over there on the side, Tall Steve, then Bimbo. Then we get over to our ex-con over there. Then it looks like the Black Sheep over there.
Black Sheep, I think, is out there, yeah.
Yep. So those guys have managed to find a way back.
Now here goes Kirby the frog, which is our other frog. And I guess I'll look later. But I know there's a third frog balloon. Oh, my hands are cold. My fingers are frozen, actually. So I haven't been using the spotting chart. I've been doing all this by memory.
Making me do all that. Well, you can do that. I still need the chart to kind of help out a little bit. Up above Kermie there, if we were to go up there, a yellow balloon around the equator with lots of hearts, that'd be Kathy Smith from Albuquerque.
Is that the name of the balloon, Lots of Hearts?
I don't remember.
Oh. Sorry, didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Yeah.
Well, I did.
It's called Levity, actually.
Oh, okay.
See how fast I am at that?
I know, you are. Well, but then you designed it, so you know the software better than I do.
I just get really good at search. And, you know, it you kind of learn how many letters you need to type in about something
to find it in the search. See, I only get to play with it once a year when I'm out here, and I'm just not quite, frankly, that studious when it comes to that kind of stuff.
You know, for a fee, I could fix that for you. You could use it everywhere.
Oh.
I've used it at the other balloon rallies that I've announced, and it really comes in handy there. So.
I'll speak to some of the other events that I commentate for and see if I can't increase my fee in order to cover your fee.
So, well.
And
I mean, they are dealing with the dream team here, if we say so ourselves. We're not saying so ourselves.
That's
what people are posting.
Yeah, there have been a couple of posts of folks calling us the dream team, and thank you again. The comments have been really, really quite gracious and kind on the comments about the job that you and I have been doing.
Yes, we certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, we do very much.
So
I'm not sure we've earned that level of accolade yet, but we do appreciate it. Standing up in the far corner of the field, the northwest corner, is my friend Pat Harwell in his balloon Maverick, and it's the royal blue with a Mardi Gras spiral of gold, green, and purple. Not sure if Pat's going to fly or not. I wouldn't surprise me if he does. In fact, I'd be surprised if he didn't. But I have noticed a few of the pilots, like Gus T. Guppy here, Larry Konash, had the balloon inflated, and then he pulled the top out and chose apparently not to fly.
Well, we're seeing a little bit more of things rocking and rolling here. Again, it is
a little more wind on the ground.
It's definitely there. So Larry Ahrens is, of course, manning the field for us, running up and down with our camera guy Tony out there.
He is our roving commentator, I guess you would say.
And he's found some folks out there to talk to. Larry?
All right, guys, thank you. And Balloon Fiesta going on, of course, and it wouldn't be Balloon Fiesta without people visiting us for the first time. And I have some folks here, first from Seattle. What's your name?
Denny.
Denny, and
my wife Linda.
Hi, Linda. 30-hour drive to get here.
30-hour drive to get here. Took 4 days. Take it easy in an RV. And this, it was absolutely worth the drive. You can't imagine what this is like.
This is hard to describe to people.
You can't. You just can't. You got to be here to see this, and you won't ever forget it.
How did you hear about this?
I'm really not sure. I guess it's pretty well advertised or pretty well known, and it's something really different. I'd put it on a bucket list for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. And you hooked up with these guys here.
We're friends from Kansas City.
All right. And you, what's your name?
Tom.
Tom and
Lynette.
Good to have you here from Kansas City. Your first day here too.
It is. It is indeed.
All right. Impressions?
Oh, spectacular.
Indescribable. It's fantastic.
It is. Yeah. We're happy you're here, and have a great time in New Mexico while you're here. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the Balloon Fiesta. All right. Thanks for coming. All right. Some folks here for the first time. They picked a good day. Back to you, Art and Glenn.
Thanks, Larry. I was taking
I was too.
bite of my gondola.
We were both trying to scarf down a little breakfast from the gondola club here, while Larry is, and Larry throws it back to us. We're both looking at each other. Who's going to talk?
Who's going to talk? Who can get rid of the food out of their mouth first? There you go. Hey, the folks in the gondola club are watching us on the feed down there as well. Yesterday, they were also watching us not only on the TV feed that they have there, but they were checking in on our Facebook Live piece as well. We appreciate them coming out. Great place to enjoy the Balloon Fiesta from is the Gondola Club. They are sold out for the rest of the event this year. But those tickets go on sale about April 1st. And you can make yourself a great trip here, have some personalized service, a great parking place, golf cart service, fabulous food in the mornings or the evenings, whichever one you are here for. And, of course, fine folks like my wife, Bobby, down there.
Yes.
Who
Bobby's
is
one of the great navigators here, volunteers.
Who is chatting to folks and kind of giving them the same kind of information that they're getting from us, but a little more one-on-one and personal down there. So
another wonderful viewing site is just not too far behind us at the Albuquerque, the Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum. Say that 5 times fast. They have each morning their balloons and breakfast. And that's another venue that is virtually sold out. I think it's about $65 for a ticket, but you get breakfast and the beautiful view of all of Balloon Fiesta from that from the east side glassed-in observation deck that they have, and they've been watching the feed there as well. And they have a new little snack center set up in the museum where you can get cold drinks and and a variety of small snacks, and they have a TV in there watching us as well.
That's great. So the officials here have now put launches on hold temporarily.
Okay.
They have just texted that out and told the pilots. So for the next few minutes here, at least, they have suspended the launches. They have not canceled them, but put them on hold and suspended those. The wind's picking up just a little bit here. We, of course, are flying under a waiver from the FAA. And when the winds get too high, we have to stop the launches from here. So we must have kind of got to that point.
I think the waiver, as I remember it, is structured so that we have wind speeds at different altitudes.
Yes,
if the wind gets beyond a certain level on the surface to the first, I think maybe 100, 150 feet or something like that, and then it's from there to the next level up. It's a multi-layered, it's kind of a wedding cake sort of waiver almost.
Exactly.
Where the winds at various altitude levels have to be within certain parameters for safe flying. And if the winds exceed that in any of those layers, then we have to deal with it. Obviously, that's what's happened this morning. The surface winds are at a point where they've decided to
just put the launches on hold.
Yeah, put things on hold. We haven't suspended or canceled anything. Just delayed for a few minutes.
Well, we've been kind of watching them, and right on the field it wasn't too bad. Then about 100, 200 feet up, it was pretty fast. Above that, it got slower again. And winds, speeds, and all those things, they tend to drop to the ground.
They do.
So that very fast layer that was a couple of 100 feet up is obviously come down to the ground here. So again, we've put our launches on hold temporarily because that wasn't a very thick layer. So if this continues to drop down, then that slower wind, in fact, I'm looking up at Kermie up here, that slow direction was much higher before. It's coming down below us here as well.
Hey, while we have a couple of minutes and we have some shapes standing up down on the field, I think I saw one of the new shapes from Mexico. We have the mariachi and the little doll. And then I think we have, is that the stork that is that new?
It's the pelican.
Pelican, rather, I'm sorry, down there. Want to make sure you're aware of, because there's going to be great demand for special shapes. Souvenirs, there always is, but especially beginning tomorrow as we move into Special Shapes Rodeo Glodio days. And Diane Carlson at Plano Pin Company and Balloon Fiesta this year have embarked on a brand new project, and that is a set of official special shape pins. Now, in the past, we've relied on the Shapes pilots to provide pins to Balloon Fiesta, and then they were sold in various booths and used for other marketing purposes. But this year, Fiesta actually has created official special shape pins, and the Plano Pin Company is the only vendor on the field where you can get these. The only vendor on the field. Let me say that again.
It's the only place?
It is the only place where you can get these official. They are stamped on the back with the official, just like our announcer pins are stamped with the official Balloon Fiesta seal of approval, whatever you want to call it.
The
logo, hallmark, etc. And they're priced incredibly reasonable, I think. They're $8 a piece.
Oh, great.
For any, it doesn't matter which shape. If it's the official special shape pin, it's an $8 pin, 2 for $15 or 3 for $20. So everybody, especially the young kids who sometimes like to collect special shape pins, can afford them. And again, it's the only place you can get them is at Plano Pin, and that's the official special shape logo, stamped, certified, stayed in a mayonnaise jar on Pumpkin Wagnall's porch overnight special shape pins.
There you go. Hey, speaking of special shapes, Bob Romanowski just joined our live Facebook feed over here.
Oh, yeah?
Bob
Hi, Bob.
flies a number of different special shapes for us. Good to see you on there as well.
And it looks like that hold on launches didn't last very long, because we've had 2 or 3 other balloons just take off, and I see Pat Harwell and Maverick is among them. Have we gotten any different, or did they launch maybe without?
Well, I'm not sure, right? Because I'm going by the text here that went out that says we're. Here's the new one. It just came across. The launches have been reopened with a thumbs up from a launch direction.
Okay.
So there's some other conversation going on the radio here as well. Joe Edwards wants to know how many balloons are going up this morning.
Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't know.
Yeah, with 550 registered balloons here, about 100 of them being registered shapes, we could see as many as 550. It's always pilot's discretion.
I did hear one of the TV stations yesterday reported there were like 400 odd that took part in yesterday's flight. Today's flight, quite frankly, is better than yesterday's. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. I would say between 400 and 500. There's Pat Harwell and his crew in Maverick flying overhead.
Good morning, Pat.
Morning, guys.
He's getting that picture. We're waving, Pat.
They're gonna out us now, and the whole world is gonna know where the rooftop studio is. Although I think the whole world pretty well knows.
Well, but we're gonna have all these great shots, publicity shots now. We're just gonna turn them into that here for our stuff as well.
Use them for marketing next year.
That's it. Yep. So hey, Belgium has just joined us as well. Philippe, thank you very much for joining us on the live feed here on Balloon Fiesta TV Live. We call the show Balloon Fiesta Live. Glenn Boyer, Art Lloyd Jr. here in the rooftop studio. Larry Aarons out there on the field for us as well.
And a great production team working behind us. We have Phil huddled up in his little tent back there. He's our director and switcher. We've got Dave working the audio and all-around coordination. And we've got great camera operators.
Jude on the camera here. Tony's out on the field.
We have remote unmanned cameras out on the field. It's quite a production. And I got to tell you, I'm honored to be a part of it.
Well, we got Randy working some of our production there, and then we've got a couple of great producers in Lucy and Brandon.
And Brandon, forgot about them. Although I noticed they moved indoors. Now, what is the deal that the talent has to sit out in the cold and the shade, and the producers are indoors in the warm?
Well, that's how they are.
You know, there's something wrong with that picture.
Well, you know, yeah, they're out here at 4:30 with me and helping to produce some of the stuff that we show on our screens here beforehand and afterwards as well.
So can I be a producer next year and not be talent?
You could. Doesn't pay nearly as much.
Well, but at least it's warmer.
There you go. So, I'm not sure if that was Jonathan or Tom Wright flying by in that one.
Well, it's Jonathan Wright's balloon.
We were just talking about you. Lucy came out to check on us, see?
Oh, did
I told
she?
her we were just talking about her, so.
Yeah, and it wasn't nice what we were saying about you.
Oh, no. Hey, you know, you think we do this in the mornings, right? They called me at 8:30 last night checking on a project I have them working on for us, so. Yeah,
well,
they've been doing a great job.
And they're putting in incredibly long hours.
They are.
The whole team is, and doing a great job.
So it looks like Larry is trying to put Guppy up here again.
Yeah, he is reinflating, and then I see two of the Hartzels and Nick Donner inflating side by side out there. Nick Donner in the orange balloon with the black, white, silver, and orange diamonds in the center, and then he's flanked by the two Hartzell balloons, the two Texas Racers, 2 of 3 that are identical, royal blue with the white stars and the checkerboard bands around the top and bottom of the balloon.
And right behind him there, the one where you see the white vertical panels and then the multicolor ones kind of in between there, that's Ralph Kaiser.
Okay.
That's a balloon called EOS. We were talking about, you know, multiple generations. You just talked about the 2 versions of the Hartzell balloons here. That is actually Ralph's third version of EOS. Got it just a couple of months ago. And of course, it looks great.
I never did a second or third version of any of my balloons. I guess the closest I came was my original balloon was called Yellow Rose, and it was a yellow balloon with purple, red, pink, and orange pattern in it. And then several years later, I copied the pattern to create Coyote Moon, which was a yellow balloon with 4 shades of blue. It had navy blue, royal blue, robin's egg blue, and sky blue in it. But I never actually just took the same pattern and duplicated it over 2 or 3 balloons.
In fact, there is Ralph in EOS
there he is.
taking off.
But if you find a pattern you like, you know, you might as well stay with it.
Sure.
And,
the balloon I flew first actually was the second edition of the balloon. There was an original one. They bought a second envelope that matched it. And then I bought it used from Bob and Kim Vesley. The balloon was called Damn I'm Good. And they asked that we keep the name of that. And, of course, everybody thought it was me that was making that name on there. But
well, and, you know, my original scheme, and you know how you are when you're a young person and you have wide-eyed dreams, my original plan was Yellow Rose was my first balloon, and that was a tribute to my Texas roots, and it was primarily yellow, and then with the accents of purple, red, pink, and orange. And the plan was that my second balloon would be the Wild Rose, and it was going to be purple with accents of red, pink, orange and yellow. And then the third version would be the red rose, and it would be red.
Yes.
And so I was going to keep the colors and just rotate the primary color and change, and then use the accents.
That was a great idea.
There was going to be a whole series. There was going to be yellow rose, red rose, wild rose, the pink rose. That never happened, of course, but it was a great, great idea, great
idea.
plan.
There you go. Yeah.
Just I never got beyond. I did yellow rose and then went on to other things, and then came back later and again just kind of copied the pattern, but created Coyote Moon.
And there goes Nick Donner.
Yep, Nick is in the air in that bright yellow, or rather orange balloon. That's another color. We've talked about coloring of balloons. Yellow is probably the most popular primary color, and the two that we see least of probably is purple and orange.
Sure.
So it's interesting to see an orange balloon in the sky.
So before we go out to Larry, I got to get this one in because they're getting persistent on our feed here.
Okay.
Kylene wants us to give a shout out to Ty Young and his Gentle Tripper. They're the ones that have the antique fire truck as the chase crew.
And Ty's on the board of directors. And
he is
a good friend. And I've made the announcement earlier. I've got a special pin for Ty if he ever finds me. I don't know where to find him, but he knows where we are.
And I've seen him a number of times, just not up in person. We actually had him on our feed the other day as well with the fire truck there.
Here goes Gus T. Guppy, Larry Kodash. Second inflation, and has now decided to launch, and the Hartzels are also getting airborne now.
There you go. Larry Aarons has said
Larry's with us.
He's out there, and he found some horses, I understand.
Part of the folks out here keeping us safe and providing security and a little PR too for the Albuquerque Police Department is the Mounted Patrol. And as you can see, these beautiful horses, these mounts, and the officers. Let's talk to this gentleman here. What a beautiful horse. Hello, officer. How are you?
Good. How you doing, sir?
You guys having fun?
We are. Are you?
I am.
Good.
Tell me about the Mounted Patrol. Tell me about your horse here.
This is Root. He's a 14-year-old. He's one of 10 horses that we have in the unit. There's 2 full-time riders and a whole bunch of collateral, so part-time riders.
Yes.
Yep.
It's great that you guys come out and do this. It's impressive. And thanks for keeping us safe out here, okay? Appreciate it. All right, have a good day. Have fun. There you go, the Mounted Patrol from APD out here at the Balloon Fiesta. Back to you, Art and Glenn.
Thanks, Larry. Hey, we were talking about the frogs before, and you were wondering about the which one was which. We were trying to think of the names of the other frogs. Hopper T. Frog is the other one, thanks to Deb, who is watching from Denton, Texas. So she sends us a note here wondering if that's the one we were talking about. And,
thank you, Deb.
It is, you bet. So in the upper part of the screen there goes Hearts of Fire. Brad Rice flying that one. The banner on the other side of that balloon says Cottonwood Mall, the other major shopping center here in the Albuquerque area.
And just to the left there, the black balloon with the forest green and blue accents is Dr. Bill Bussey. Bill is the founder of the Great Texas Balloon Race. There's Bill. Must hear us talking about him this morning.
Good wave there. Yep.
One of my early mentors in the sport of ballooning and just a great friend.
Okay. And the shot we have kind of right here on the field here as well.
And look down the field. Just, I'm just saying. Look straight down the field.
There you go. Yeah. So all the way down there. So Darth Vader has stood up, and a few moments ago, and we're kind of right next to Darth, is the small balloon. We heard the pilot of Arabelle, Dale Ritchie, talk about they were going to leave Arabelle up for a little while and then go probably fly the small round one, and he has definitely inflated that. There it is, sponsored by Creamland. We've kind of pulled back on there. I see the Mr. Fish out there as well. And Bimbo has made it back here to the field.
Osito Bimbo has made it back to the field as well. Bill Baker flying that balloon. Tall Steve, Andrew Holly, we talked about, is hanging around out there trying to box his way back to the field, I believe. Over here to our right, I don't know that we've mentioned him yet, this morning is Steve Lombardi in the new rebranded Remax balloon. And people will look at that balloon and go, huh? What do you mean rebranded? It's the same old red, white, and blue that says Remax on the side. And it does, but after some focus group studies, they determined that there was some confusion. Some of the, especially millennials that were in the focus group, thought it said RF Max because the red slash tended to chop off the bottom of the letter E. So they basically just kind of reworked the logo, kind of expanded it out a little bit. And now you can clearly see that it says Remax. You can see the letter E much more clearly, and I never noticed that till early this week. We had a chance to see.
We still kind of have the bottom leg of that E still kind of cut
and
off
if you notice, it slices off the top of the M as well.
Yeah,
But
not nearly like you did on the old logo.
More clearly, and of course, I always knew it was the Remax balloon, so it never occurred to me. But when we saw the old balloon and the new balloon side by side, you could see a dramatic difference. You wouldn't think so, but and they had a point. It kind of looked like RF Max instead of RE for Remax.
How many years did it take to figure that out?
How many years did it take? Yeah, exactly, for somebody to figure that out.
Yeah.
And it took some millennials to do it, of course. You know, us old folks couldn't figure that thing out, so. Anyway, the newly rebranded Remax.
So, of course, I get all set up to talk about the balloon that was right there next to Remax.
And it's gone.
And, well, Remax has moved on, and now the one behind it there up, the one that I was going to talk about is actually pulling the top.
So that's the RNS balloon?
That it is.
RNS
Power Sports.
Power Sports now,
yep.
Okay.
Balloon almost there. Anthony Hayes from Houston, Texas. So
they've gone. The balloon hasn't changed, but they've gone through a few name versions. Because when I can remember the early days, it was RNS Kawasaki.
Yes.
Then it came RNS Motorsports, and I think, or maybe I'm just remembering wrong, but Steve Lombardi used to do some flying for them as well. So RNS Power Sports it is. They provide a lot of those, the four-wheelers and the mules and things that you see our staff riding around on, our scoring team especially. Oh.
And here goes our Saguaro balloon. Patrick
Saguaro
Mills
Cactus.
flying with.
And it's a bit of a misnomer. People think that the Saguaro Cactus is common here in New Mexico, and it really is not.
It's not.
You really have to go out
Tucson.
to Arizona and California to see the Saguaro Cactus. Those are the big tall cacti with the arms on it and whatnot that are very iconic of the western United States for our viewers from around the world, but they are not common in New Mexico. You have to go further west.
If they're here, they've been transplanted, and they don't always grow very well here. But having grown up in Phoenix, I'm very familiar with them from there.
I can remember, well, when I used to live out in California, when I lived in Sacramento, and we made the trip to Fiesta every year, we would stop at Laughlin, do a little bit of gambling. I always lost. And then on our way home, we sometimes drove through the Saguaro National Forest out there.
So Barb wants me to shout out to her husband who's in the other room. And it's on our feed right now. It's already been there once, and we missed it the first time around, but a number of people are announcing for us that Smokey Bear is out there.
Smokey Bear is out there, yes, indeed.
And the Con is in the same shot there, even though they're pretty separated. So certainly great angles we're getting from our different camera views.
Yeah, they sometimes are seeing things that we don't, which is kind of fun.
Yep.
There's so many things to look at. There's a great shot. Look at Smokey Bear.
Yep.
Awesome shot.
So Bimbo is
that your shot?
back in
Yeah.
here.
Okay, we're getting that shot from our rooftop studio from Jude here. Yeah.
Good
That's
deal.
an awesome shot. Look at that.
That's a great shot. Great volunteers that support that program, not only from the balloon side, but all the pieces, all the money, all of that stuff. It is not government funded at all.
That's right. It is entirely funded by private citizens and donations. And Smokey Bear, of course, the long time, since back in the 50s, iconic marketing spokesman for the U.S. Forest Service, but it does not receive any government funding for that balloon program.
Someone says bears shouldn't smoke. Smokey Bear did not smoke. He
well,
smoked because he got caught in the
I was
fire.
gonna say,
is what the
he
story
might have been
is.
smoking when they first found him, but that was because he was injured in a wildfire, and that's how the whole Smokey Bear, remember only you can prevent forest fires thing came about.
Barbara's husband is happy we gave that shout out. By
Well,
the way.
good for Barbara's husband. But my question would be, Barbara and your husband, why aren't you watching in the same room? What is it with separate rooms?
Hey, don't
here?
knock it. We get an extra view that way.
that is increasing our numbers. Is that what you're saying?
That's it.
Outstanding.
So,
Pat Fogue is high overhead in the white and with the blue and green swishes on it. That is the IMTS balloon, the International Manufacturing Technology Show. Say that 5 times fast.
no thanks. I'll let you take that one.
I was
Go
just
ahead,
lucky.
try it.
Yeah. International Manufacturing Technology Show, International Manufacturing Technology Show, International Manufacturing Technology Show, International Manufacturing Technology Show, International Manufacturing Technology Show.
Very good.
Yay.
Very good.
That was a waste of good airtime, wasn't it?
Hey, but it's commercial free. It is. Hey, we are having a great time here at the Albuquerque International Balloon
We
Fiesta.
must be, because I can hear Phil and Dave
now
back in
look
the
what they're
control
doing
center.
here. Look at what we're doing on our camera here.
What are we doing? I can't even see.
We've got the full screen. There's Jude's camera, and there's
Oh,
you and
okay.
I on the bottom in our own.
Oh, how about that?
We're
in
mixing
our own
the
little,
camera feeds
we're
here.
our own little inset photograph.
Yeah.
We must be having fun, because I can hear them just laughing there. You know what's off behind us.
They are.
So,
they are.
It's
That's why you got to be here. And you know,
it's either that
keep
or
the feed
it's
with
either
you in your pocket.
It's either we're having fun, or the folks with the Admiral Nelson spiced rum heard us and they brought some up, but it didn't get past the control booth. I think, yeah. I heard aloud. That's it.
That's
yeah.
it
Okay.
there, yep,
yeah. Well, then I think it's time for us to say goodbye. Oh goodness. Well, you can tell it's midweek, because now we start to get a little goofy up here.
So.
Oh
yep.
man.
Hey, I see you were talking about those special shaped pins.
Diane Carlson in Plano Pin Company, and I see her balloon
out there.
Yeah.
That's where I was headed with that.
I knew you were.
Walking on air. You just wanted to steal my thunder.
No,
there
it's your wife Bobby was up here yesterday after the show, and we were talking, and she said, you guys are getting to know each other too well. And I said, after just 4 years of working together,
right.
You and I are a lot like Tom Rutherford and I used to be, and I worked with Tommy here for 25 years. We get to the point where we can finish each other's sentences and almost see and have the same thoughts at the same time. So I knew where you were going with that, and I jumped you, so I apologize.
Right. So somebody was asking about Roger Hoppy earlier this morning on the feed and volcanic motion, and I think that's him putting cold air in the balloon way over there on the far eastern side. That looks like the balloon of Roger Hoppy. We're, of course, on the feed looking at those lovely flip-flops of Diane Carlson's walking on air balloon.
Yeah.
But just had to point that out as I saw that out there. I don't know if we'll get a shot of that or not, but we'll just for whoever the person who was watching and asking about Roger, I think that's his balloon right over there.
Well,
so.
and I'm watching Tall Steve and Osito Bimbo, both of whom I think were trying to box back to the field. Tall Steve hasn't quite made it. You see, he's out there near
he's
that
buzzing the west side.
He's buzzing the west side 75-foot pylon out there. Those, by the way, those white pylons with the red stripes are on the top that you may have seen in some of the shots today. Those are markers for the pilots when we fly competition, and the pilots are flying in over the crowd. They have to be at a minimum altitude of 75 feet before they, and then once they enter the target zone, the flagged off target zone, they can then drop down to the deck. But if they're over a spectator area, a congested area, the FAA requires us to be at a minimum of 75 feet, and those pylons are conveniently located around the field to help the pilots judge, even though they have altimeters in the balloon, where that 75-foot level is.
And just convenient that both Tall Steve and Osito Bimbo have gotten back to the field here. The officials have now just opened the field
for landings.
Oh,
good. And Osito Bimbo has just
look at that
landed just then, right there in the far northwest corner of the field.
There it is. Touch and a little over.
That is Bill Baker out of Texas flying the balloon. Bill, as a matter of fact, was the champion of the long lead balloon event. We were talking about that earlier over in England. He was just over there. John Petrin was there. Joe and Rhett Hartzell were there. We had a contingent of American pilots. Neil Langford from here in Albuquerque was with us. Chris Levichuk, who's flying one of the Penguins. Not flying Tall Steve, who's passing by. We've gotten so used to Tall Steve just boxing the field all week long. That's what he's been doing.
This is kind of in the automatic about every 25 minutes. Here comes
Tall Steve. Yeah, I think we can almost just create an audio plug and give it to David and just just cue him. Say, okay.
Yeah.
And punch the button and say, "Here comes Tall Steve."
We'll just give a cue there and let it go.
There's a great shot of Tall Steve though, as he's turned and is facing the crowd now. So if you're out on the field, you can get a nice shot of Tall Steve as he flies right by us.
Out on the field, I'm going to get a shot here from the rooftop studio.
Well, that's not a bad. I would. Well, actually, there's a great shot with our cameraman in it. If I can get my camera up.
And you actually look this way, Glenn.
Do what?
Look this way.
Oh.
So we'll get you, Jude, and Tall Steve all in the picture.
Okay, well, send me that. Airdrop.
I will do that.
I couldn't get my phone up quick enough to grab the shot because I saw the same picture with Jude and the camera and Tall Steve in it there.
See, there we're even thinking about what pictures are the same.
It is scary, yeah. Yeah, Bobby said yesterday, I think I talked about, I'd like to make it through the 50th.
Through the 50th, right.
In 4 years and then maybe call it quits. And Bobby said, you can't quit. You guys know too much and you work too well together. And I said, well, yeah, that's true. It's a little scary.
It is. It has been just a dream to be up here. So
I would have said it was more of a nightmare to have you up here, but that would be just me.
Yeah.
And you know I'm kidding.
Hey, Bob is watching from his semi. He hasn't been home in 3 weeks. He'd like to say hi to his wife. He's going to be home tonight.
You know, now we're getting almost like I don't listen to anything except satellite radio, XM, Sirius XM radio, and all the talk shows. I listen a lot to the NFL channel, and you know, and so many of the callers who call in are truck drivers because they're spending hours on the interstates, and it's entertainment for them. So now we're almost to the level now of Sirius XM satellite radio.
Hey, Jude, can we get the crew working here? We watched the crew pack the balloon up the Zia balloon yesterday.
They're packing the Coca-Cola
Here's
balloon.
a little bit different technique on here. We saw them kind of take the bag down. These guys are actually carrying the envelope to the bag. So they're kind of walking it there. So Glo Kehoe kind of put some cold air there, and I'm not sure she stood it up for us, but at least made an attempt here. So rather than, sometimes what happens when they milk the air out of the balloon there, you start at the top end and you just kind of carry the bag and work your way back to the basket.
I always used, my crew and I always did this. I called it snaking the balloon in. And because after the first few, you know, steps and the first few bits of fabric go back into the bag, that bag gets heavy, and then you're trying to sling it to the next person and then the next person. And I always thought, you know, it's a lot easier. Just let this big old heavy bag sit on the ground and bring the balloon to it. And I called it snaking. I'm not sure if there's an official name for it, but that's what I called it, my crew. And that's the way we packed up my balloons, was we would leave the bag stationary, just have two people stand there and hold the bag open, and then let the rest of the crew just, you know, bring the fabric to the bag.
And we've done it both ways. We've done it both ways.
I have too,
yeah,
but I always thought that was the less.
You're right. It's a little less work there. What happens here is you get a little drag of the fabric on the ground. So on the grass, it's no big deal.
Yeah, we would not do it on if we were flying off of a parking lot or something like that.
Yeah,
but if
or
you're on
we
grass,
fly where there's a lot of cactus and chamisa and sharp things like that. So we tend not to drag the fabric
and
at all.
In that case, the reinforced bottom of the storage bag certainly helps to protect the balloon, and you'd rather tear that up than the balloon. But yeah, conditions being right, this was the less what's the word I'm searching for? The
lesser of the
less
two.
strenuous
There you go.
of the two types of ways to pack a balloon up.
So Jonathan's wondering about competition. Today is a mass ascension
Today's
day.
no competition, yeah.
And Flight of the Nations, there is kind of a little competition. They were talking about a target out in Corrales. I don't believe it counts in the overall. It's just kind of a daily piece here. So with everybody taking off from here, Jonathan, competition we had was canceled on Monday because of the conditions. We had a great Sid Cutter Memorial competition yesterday. And then tomorrow and Friday, while we feature the special shapes here on the field, there'll be competition. All the shapes lined up along the east side of the field. And the competition will be taking place on the west side. That's when every regular shaped balloon flies into the field. They go somewhere else and launch, fly into the field. And then those are the days we put poles up where they'll drop a ring over it. Sometimes we play golf. We have all kinds of different things happening depending on the day.
Well, and not to correct what you were saying, but to correct what you were saying, some of the shapes, many of the shapes may in fact inflate and launch from the field.
Yes.
Those shapes that want to. Oh, did I lose an ear?
You lost an ear there, yep.
I have my Princess Leia earmuffs on, and somehow I've lost one this morning. But those shapes that want to are able to then inflate and stay static, and we move them to the southeast or the northeast corner of the field so the crowd can enjoy them, but that allows us to flag the field for the competition.
That's just a yes and. That's a yes and to the
exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I wasn't correcting you, just a little more detailed explanation there.
There you go.
I'm going to put my earmuff back on, I think.
So did that Hartzell balloon box around already?
I think so, yeah.
That was quick.
Well, we Texans are fast.
Looks like the motorcycle attempting to inflate out there on the far. Yep, it is. That is the motorcycle out there still putting cold air out there.
You know, there was quite a discussion on Facebook the other night about that balloon because there was an article in the paper where the pilot said that is the world's largest hot air balloon, and it is not. It is clearly not. The largest hot air balloon was over 3 million cubic feet. It was inflated in Maine some years ago, more than a decade ago. So I'm not sure where he came up with that. And my question in that whole conversation was I would like to know what the volume of that balloon is because a lot of shapes are very big, but the volume, which is the lifting mass of the balloon, is not necessarily that much larger than any of the other balloons. A lot of them are, say, about 90 to 105,000 cubic feet. And so while the balloon is very large, there is a lot of fabric, and it is physically large. It is not classified as the largest hot air balloon because it isn't certainly the largest lifting volume. And
so let me add on to that. What the pilot reports is that it's 8,000 cubic meters of volume in that balloon.
Approximately 24,000, let's see, 8,000, times 3 would only be 24,000 cubic feet. That can't be right.
No, because it's cubed, it would be 240.
Okay, You're right.
It's 240,000 cubic feet.
I was doing squared. I was just doing simple multiplication. You're right. Cubed would be 240,000 cubic feet. But there are standard balloons that are ride balloons that are 415,000 cubic feet.
So it's the largest balloon that pilot has ever flown at that time. He was talking to the newspaper reporter.
Well, that's probably true, and it might be the largest in terms of mass, in terms of just physical size. It may be the largest special shape that's ever been here at Balloon Fiesta. I wouldn't necessarily argue that point.
There was a tractor
but it
one
is
year.
Not the largest hot air balloon in the world.
There was a tractor here one time.
And if you remember, that balloon was built accidentally. We got into a cubed versus squared.
That's exactly where I was going with this.
And the measurements were done wrong, and it was built 3 times larger than it was supposed to have been.
Right. Sent the measurements in feet, and it was built in meters.
In meters, right.
And I remember Sid Cutter telling me that he kind of looked at when he went to pick it up at the airport. It was kind of like, this balloon weighs how much?
How much?
Wait a minute, this shouldn't be weighing that much. And he was really confused by that. And then when he pulled it out of the bag and they started to inflate it and then go back and figure out what happened, that tractor was huge.
It was huge, yes. And we've had some very large shapes here. Occasionally we have the Orient Express, the train engine, that is the locomotive that is so impressive. And I think one of my all-time favorite shapes was the Canadian Mountie. The mounted Canadian Mountie on the black horse, that beautiful black horse balloon. Oh, that was an awesome balloon. And that was sadly destroyed in an accident. It burned.
Burned up.
Gosh. But I think that's one of my all-time favorite
And this is not
shapes.
the first motorcycle that has been here either.
No, it is not. Malcolm Forbes, the late Malcolm Forbes, had a motorcycle balloon that has been here with us before.
He brought a number of different balloons to us, special shaped balloons.
He did. His motorcycle, though, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it a Harley?
It was more of a traditional motorcycle, where this one is a motorbike.
Motorbike,
Yeah. So, that's the that was the difference here. But it's always great to see the special shapes here. Of course, we feature them big time tomorrow and Friday here on the field.
And don't forget, we were talking earlier about those special shape pins, the official Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta official special shape pins, first time ever. So this is the first in what will be a series of pins that Fiesta and the Plano Pin Company will be creating going forward. So this is the year to buy them. It's in order that you get the very first, because that'll become more and more valuable over the years. And the Plano Pin Company is the only outlet, the only place where you can get the official Fiesta special shape pins. They're $8 each, 2 for $15 or 3 for $20. Heck of a good deal.
So some other big special shapes folks are telling us about here and reminding us about. Remember the Brandenburg Gates?
Oh,
yes. Been here a couple of times.
Yeah.
So that has been here as well. And someone's talking about a castle in the 80s, a European castle.
That was the Disney castle, if it's the one that I'm thinking of.
I remember the Disney castle as well.
I don't remember a European castle being here, but the Disney castle was here.
And I think you mentioned the train,
the
locomotive.
The locomotive, which was the Orient Express, which was so fun because it had they carried a steam whistle in the basket. Whenever they would fly, you'd hear toot toot, and as the balloon was flying, it was awesome. That was a cool balloon. And no, I will not do toot toot again, so don't ask.
So, some great special shapes. Mickey has been here. Mickey's been here with a birthday hat from Disney.
Yeah.
You remember the
big clown, and then the Santa Claus that had the clown in his pack.
Yes,
remember those?
Frank Prell.
Right. Yes,
I remember the first year that Santa was here because they had a rope that he had an actuating arm where
Yes,
Santa
you
could
could wave the arm.
wave, and the pilot did that by pulling the rope in the basket to make Santa wave as he flew by. That was a great fun one. I don't remember if, speaking of ropes though and pilot actuation, I don't remember if Forbes' Macaw balloon was ever here or not, but I was honored to be at Malcolm's Chateau in Ballois, France.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Well, it was a great honor, and the year that balloon debuted, and of course it was a beautiful macaw or a parrot-type bird, had this very long tail, and after its first flight, I remember they came back to the chateau that afternoon, and Don Cameron and some of his staff were there, and they were working on the balloon, and I went over to find out what they were doing. Well, the balloon, when it flew and it came in for a landing, the tail drug through the trees, and it tore the long trailing tail of the bird. So what they did was they rigged a pulley system in the basket so that when you were ready to land the balloon, the pilot could actually roll that tail up and pull it up close to the body of the bird so that you could then land without tearing the balloon every time.
Well, I remember the first year the Creamland Cow Arabelle was here. She actually carried a crescent moon underneath the basket.
Oh, I'd forgotten that, but that's right. Yeah,
so,
it was a cow
same type
jumping
of
over
thing.
the moon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in addition to having to have those legs come down and hit the ground before you brought the basket down, then you had to bring the moon
Had to
up
move the
too,
moon in, yes.
as well. A couple other special shapes folks are talking
Now,
about.
see, that would have been a great time to cue up the music. Fly me to the moon.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Beagle Maximus, which we should see tomorrow and Friday. Another one that's
Mike Strum's big balloon.
We'll be here with that one. And what was the other one? Oh, the UFO, the T-Rex. We have a great picture of the T-Rex just kind of coming out of the trees, and another one where he was kind of bending down, looking like he was going to take a bite out of a regular.
A bite out of a. In fact, that balloon picture, the picture of him where he was about to bite another balloon,
yes,
was used on a spoof issue of Balloon Life years ago, a couple of decades ago, called Balloon Strife, and it featured that picture of the T-Rex balloon about to chomp down on another balloon. You know, who's captured some great shots like that is Benny Boss.
He is.
Who is one of the official photographers here from the Netherlands.
He was by to see you this morning, by the way.
Oh, was he? I'm sorry I missed him.
Yeah, I told him that,
Sorry, Benny, I was stuck in traffic.
He was going to go fly. I forgot who he told me he was going to fly with. Oh, the sheep tomorrow. I forgot who he told me he was going to fly with this morning. Hey, Larry Aarons has made it back up here from the field down there.
We had fun down there.
Yeah, you had lots of good time down there. So a great morning for flying down
Oh,
there.
it's beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Isn't the energy level so incredible down there on the field, though?
Yeah,
I mean,
I was
being around
about
all of
to
that.
say that the enthusiasm by the spectators, the patrons here at the Balloon Fiesta, the guests. It's unbelievable. Ran into so many nice people here for the first time.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you, out of tens of thousands of people down there, you find somebody who's here for the first time?
Well,
How'd
you
do
look
that?
at them, you can just spot them because
The
they're just
the deer in the headlights eyes.
The deer in the headlights. The jaw has dropped.
The head's spinning around and around. I can't see it all. I can't take it all at the same time.
That's who you look for.
Yeah.
And lots of people here from Hong Kong. It's incredible when you go out and just mix with the folks on the field, and you were reminiscing about some of the special shapes. Some of the early ones were booze bottles, weren't they? We had a
there were a number
Jameson
of them.
balloon for the Scotch. And
Yeah, and we had the LeBlat's Blue label beer, weren't they here?
Yeah.
Was it LeBlat's, I think, that
Those
was
are
here?
the first ones that I remember seeing.
Well, and the old Porter paint can, if you want to go way back, in the Wayback Time Machine
Champagne
here.
bottles.
Champagne bottles. Freixenet used to have a champagne
That's
bottle.
right.
Yep.
And there was a oh goodness, what was the bottle that the pilot was here every year from the Great Britain, and it was it wasn't Cuddy Sark.
Could have been.
Yeah,
might have
there's
been.
been
I'm
so
having
many,
a senior
so
moment,
many of those. Yeah,
Yeah, there's
those
been a bunch of
different
them
ones
through
out
the
here
years.
as well. Yep.
Brute, a cologne that I wore as a kid in high school that is still popular. There was a blue Brute bottle that was here for a few years.
The grocery sack, the TV, Financial Times, the newspaper.
Safeway had the grocery cart.
The grocery cart.
Full of
Yep,
of
and then the
grocery stuff
grocery
in it.
bag. Yep.
Yeah, the grocery bag.
Now, we don't have any of the sports balloons here. The football, the golf ball, what else?
The
soccer ball
and the football will be here on
They'll
the
be
next
here, I
couple
think,
of
starting
days.
on the show Friday, I believe
good.
so.
We've been talking about the U.S. Bank balloons. Scott McClendon brings those to us. Scott, by the way, has bought the crab balloon. Claude is the name
Claude,
of it.
yeah.
So that's now in Scott's fleet. So I believe we'll see that one tomorrow and Friday as well.
Oh, good.
Well, that's going to be fun when we get into the special shapes thing. And, it's interesting to watch the crowd here at Balloon Fiesta because, and I am approached by people all the time around the country saying, well, I can't come for the whole 9 days, so when do I come? And I said, well, it depends on what you want to see. If you want to see the mass ascensions with all the balloons, then you come for the opening weekend. You want to come out for the first weekend and stay through, through today, kind of the midweek. If you want to see if special shapes is your thing, then you can wait and come out midweek. You can arrive in Albuquerque like today and then stay for the closing half.
Yep.
And a lot of people do that. So if you can't be out here all 9 days, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to see most. If it's the mass ascension and the early glows, you come out for the opening part of the week. If it's the shapes, you can come out for the end of the week. And, of course, we do glows with the shapes and then our closing night magic glow on the final Saturday night. So that doesn't matter if you come out early or late, you're always going to see some great balloon glows.
Couple of others here. The space shuttle hot air balloon. It used to come out here. Has been out here a few times with the big American flag and the haunted house balloon.
How about Elvis? Remember Elvis?
Elvis was here. Yeah.
Elvis was in the building.
Yes,
he was.
Yep. We used to have the little devil and the little angel balloons as well. So about 100 special shapes featured in the next couple of days, and we'll be bringing all of that to you live right here on Balloon Fiesta Live on Balloon Fiesta TV.
Absolutely. So I think we're pretty much about to wrap up things for today. Do we have entertainment coming up on the main stage? I think most every day we do.
We probably have a quick one this morning because we have no afternoon events.
Well, that's true.
I'm being reminded, and I'm not sure where my friend Kim Vesley is this morning. But we haven't talked about America's
we haven't updated the gas balloons.
So I think we've got our graphics here. All of the balloons have now landed. Many of them left the country, speaking of Elvis leaving the building. Many of them have left the country and ended up in Canada there. Did you see that? Got a nice, got a fun little graphic here.
No, I saw the shot of me drinking hot chocolate.
Oh, there you go. So we'll see that again. There's the graphic
there it is.
there.
Wow.
And there's the map. Look at that from taking off from Albuquerque here. And the Swiss team, number 6, way up there near Newfoundland. They are the apparent winners. And I say it that way because this their spotting is dependent on our tracking information. We're still waiting to confirm pilot reports and interview the pilot types of things. So anything we talk about here is still unofficial. But the Swiss team way up there in Newfoundland appears to be the winners. In second place would be team number 4 there. That would be Krzysztof Sapart from Poland and Andy Caton from the U.S. And those guys kept flying way into the late afternoon yesterday to get that extra little distance over team number 1. That's the U.S. team of Barbara Fricke and Peter Cuneo. Right here from Albuquerque, they are the defending champions. The 2 first-place teams apparently have broken the record for America's Challenge. Flying, can we click on one of those again, guys? Number 6 there flew 3,600 kilometers or 2,278 miles. The record was 1998. And there's Zapart and Caton. They also have gone 2,185 miles. That also passed the record. And if I remember right, Barbara Fricke and Peter Cuneo were just shy of the record. Yes, 1938. Remember, the record was 1998. So then in 4th place would be Team 3. That's Mark Sullivan and Sherry White. We talked about Sherry earlier today.
Yep.
And so they are in 4th place. Those are the ones that have flown they flew on kind of an extra night there, if you will, all 4 of those to kind of get those distances. But this has just been an incredible event. They launched out of here Saturday night about 6 o'clock. And by last night, everyone was down. Some retrieval challenges maybe. I haven't heard any more about that for the first 2 teams, just because of the wilderness area that is up there.
Yeah, where they ended up.
And even Barbara Fricke and Peter Cuneo, team number 1 there in northern Vermont, in a very wooded area as well. You can see where the other 4 teams are. A couple of them down in around Indianapolis there, one up in the Wisconsin area, and one back near Ames, Iowa there. So we had just an incredible event
the America's Challenge gas balloon race. This, of course, a qualifier for the U.S. to go to the Gordon Bennett race.
Yes.
So that means that the team number 1 of Barbara Fricke and Peter Cuneo, the second place team, or the second U.S. team of Mark Sullivan and Sherry White, and Phil Bryan and Mike Emick, those would be the top 3 U.S. teams. They qualify to go to Switzerland to participate in the Gordon Bennett next year.
Yep.
So congratulations to all of them. What a fabulous and safe flight they had. And we are looking forward to hearing all the stories and seeing all the pictures. They, of course, if they haven't already packed up their balloon and are headed back, they'll be doing that.
Well, I was going to say, the next thing is we're hoping that they get back in time for the awards banquet Saturday night to receive the
That's
nice...
a long drive back.
Yes,
So,
yes
yeah.
it is.
But,
And think about the chase crew. They've had to drive all the way there, and now they got to turn around and drive all the way back. So.
And the pilots are just as tired too.
Well,
so
of course
even though they
are.
have 2 more people to do the driving, everybody's tired.
Everybody's pretty well worn
So
out.
hopefully they'll have safe trips back here as well. So that's the update on America's Challenge gas balloon race.
A record-setting gas balloon race, and we're having a record-setting week here, I think, certainly for our new project, Balloon Fiesta Live, and the Balloon Fiesta TV team. And thank you again to all of those from all around the world. We've seen evidence of that this morning who are tuning into the live stream. It's been quite an exciting week, and we're only halfway through. We've got several more days yet to go. So we're just midweek at the 46th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Superbike is up and doing a bit of a wheelie over the crowd down there. And good time. We don't have an evening event tonight, so now's a good time if you haven't done it to take a stroll down Main Street. There's some great vendors over there, lots of food and drink, merchandise to be had, and now's a good time to be doing that.
There's a great shot of
yeah,
and your
all
breakfast
down
burritos
Main
down
Street.
there. Yep.
Breakfast burritos. There's everything you can imagine to eat and drink over there. And
be sure and check out the official merchandise tents.
Well, sure.
All of the great logoed sportswear is there. Of course, the official pins are there, except for the special shape ones you've been talking about.
Play-Doh pin.
And all the calendars, programs, lots of great information, pictures of all the balloons, some great articles in there as well. And the calendar interactive this year.
Yep, and even official commentator pins. We've started using, I think, the term commentator ourselves. They actually are the official announcer pins.
Remind me to tell you off air what one of the board members said about that.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope it was good. It probably wasn't, but I hope it was good.
So the commentator ones, though, they're only at the north tent.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yes, those.
I was about to say, my pin is blue, yours is red, Larry's is yellow. You can only get those from us, so you got to track us down if you want those. If you want to buy the public version, it's purple, and it's available only at the North merchandise tent. But if you want the whole set, you got to do a little legwork and track us down.
You know what? I think today's the day we better get out there and get the purple ones.
You know, we may have to, but I've also got to go do laundry today. It's midweek.
Laundry day for you?
It's laundry day for me. So
it's nap day for me.
Well, it's that for me too. Even though you let me sleep in a little this morning and did dawn patrol,
and then you broke the crossing gates out there so that you could come in even a little later.
Well, I was snoozing in the truck. What can I tell you?
That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, another awesome day. Again, thanks to all of you who tuned in from around the world on the Balloon Fiesta Live stream. The numbers are just exceeding all our expectations, and your comments have been so incredibly kind and generous, and we hope that you're enjoying the show that we're bringing to you this year for the first time, and giving us a lot of great ideas on how we can expand it and make it better going forward.
Certainly appreciate that. So let's call it a morning. What do you say?
I think so. Time to go get some hot chocolate and track down that Admiral Nelson spiced rum that I think our production team stole from us.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm Glenn Moyer.
I'm Art Lloyd Jr. We caught him with his mic up. Hey, Larry Aaron's here as well. Hey, thanks. We'll see you in the morning.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
From the hot air balloon capital of the world, this is the 46th edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon. The world's premier ballooning event is happening now in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is Balloon Fiesta Live, online and on the air.
Never have to worry. about embarrassing stubble. And right now, for a limited time, get 60% off laser hair removal only at Ideal Image, the advanced med spa. This great offer is not going to last long. It's time to treat yourself to laser hair removal.